What's up, guys? It's me, Caleb from EZG, also known as Morez.
What's up, guys? I'm Elijah, also known as a Dimon.
Today we're gonna react to this. The Silent Hill 2 remake is a sequel by Ram and the Lamb.
Yep.
This is Sunderland, my cat. He wants down right now, but I played Silent Hill 2 first. Basically when it came out.
I just kind of recently finished playing, like maybe like a month and a half ago. So good.
Yeah, and
Really good game.
this is both of our first Silent Hill experience, and we're very excited for Silent Hill F. I want to go
Yeah,
back
that
and
game.
play the older ones. Silent Hill 2 was both of our first Silent Hill games, and we love it a lot. I named my cat Sunderland. I have this sweet mug that I will be drinking from. So this video is like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's very long. It basically goes over the story of Silent Hill 2, goes over some of the side characters, it goes over some of the lore, and basically like theories of what the remake is compared to the original game. And it gives a very good retrospective and like an outside look. You ready?
Yep.
We got our snacks.
We got my drink.
Got my Silent Hill mug.
That's sick.
Yep. We're ready to react and observe and absorb information. Yeah, learn.
Learning.
Alright, let's go.
You're always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Remember that time in the hotel?
Is that like a fan edit or something, or was that actually in the game?
Oh, he edited it.
It's still there.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
And not your Mary.
Silent Hill 2 remains one of the most iconic and mysterious horror games in history, with fans still discussing its meaning over 2 decades later. But here's the thing, you don't know the meaning of Silent Hill 2, but neither do I.
What?
Okay, I can already hear the typing of disgruntled fingers down there in the comment section. Let me explain before you finish typing up that comment of yours, which I'm sure was going to come out level-headed and reasonable. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past year, you've most likely seen the announcement and subsequent release of the Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team. And hopefully you haven't
Can't wait for Bloober Team's first remake of the first game.
But if you have,
it's gonna be good.
I'm sorry to say the release of the game hasn't changed much. The discourse surrounding it is still pretty moronic. On one end of the extreme, you have people who hated the remake from the moment it was announced because of early marketing material which depicted a very different presentation than what we got on release. Yet despite Bloober's revision of the game, making it a bit more in line with the original, these people still hate it. For various reasons, some valid and some just, how do I put this, completely brain dead.
Yeah, do you remember, were you around when you saw that, or no?
Nah.
Alright, so, what happened before the game is during marketing, Angela looks a little bit, like, fatter than the original one. Like, barely. Like, she had her turtleneck on, and she just looked like a tiny bit chunkier. And people were saying it was like woke and DEI in the game because she was a little bit fatter.
That's funny.
Like, she's not even that fat or like ugly. Like, it's just compared to I don't know. I don't think she looks that, like, she doesn't look fat at all. It's just her face looks a little bit chubbier, and then they made edits to make her look even fatter.
Yeah.
Like, look.
That's crazy.
From the moment it was announced because of early marketing material which depicted a very different presentation than what we got on release. Yet despite Bloober's revision of the game, making it a bit more in line with the original, these people still hate it. For various reasons, some valid, and some just, how do I put this, completely.
Yeah. She does not look
That's
like
so
that.
crazy. Yeah.
She does not look like that.
brain dead. And on the other hand, you have the
Yeah.
group of people who never seem to learn
Silent
how
Hill is
recency
woke.
bias makes them believe anything new that comes out is the best thing ever made. These people are personally offended by criticism of their new shiny toy and consider the practice of critique sacrilegious. Both of these extreme groups will probably hate me by the end of this video, assuming they make it that far before rage quitting. Oh, and sorry, I forgot one little group of people. These are the refined society.
That's what I
who
feel
are
like about the other guy I
highly
was talking about.
opinionated on the original Silent
Oh,
Hill,
the
despite
They're so
never
refined
having
and they're
played it
pretentious
or
and they're
even
like talking
watched
about the
a
psychological
playthrough.
analysis of.
Nobody
Like
yeah.
it's just.
people. But despite any difference in opinions
It's annoying.
you might have, what most of you
There are
don't
people that are really
realize is
annoying
that
like that.
Bloober's Silent Hill 2 is not an upgrade of the
There's a lot of
original
videos that are
classic,
like that. So
nor is it a downgrade. It was never really a remake at all. It is a sequel disguised as a remake. The way that it reimagines Silent Hill's narrative and the delivery of that narrative shows me that it is not attempting to replace the original, but rather tell a new story by revisiting a classic. Despite looking similar on the surface, using the same characters, roughly the same plot, story, and revelations, Bloober's Silent Hill 2 offers a completely different narrative experience than the original. Bloober realized something a lot of studios probably would have failed to. You can't remake Silent Hill 2 for a modern gaming audience. You can only reinterpret it for them. Ambiguity in interpretation is at the heart of the original Silent Hill 2, and is what mainly contributes to its strong dreamlike atmosphere. Heavily inspired by the works of David Lynch, Silent Hill 2 creates its meaning similarly to
isn't he dead
Lynch's
now?
works,
R.I.P.
both
David
use
Lynch.
mystery, subtlety, and ambiguity to create
Wait,
a
who's that?
foggy dream for
It's an
the
actor
audience to
or a
interpret
director.
and make
He's
meaning of.
he makes
From
movies
the
and
abstract visuals of enemies and
he'll
locations.
go over how David Lynch's movies really inspired like Silent Hill 2's story and narrative and how it interprets itself. So
Mm.
it'll go over it. But he's dead now. I think he died this year.
Oh wow.
To the physical performance of its characters and even the delivery of the voice acting, Silent Hill 2 lives in the uncertainty of dreams. Changing the core building blocks of a dream inherently changes the experience and meaning an audience might derive from it, putting into question whether the remake's intention was ever to upgrade or even replace the original game at all. Tonight we will explore the dream or nightmare that is Silent Hill 2 and Bloober Team's reinterpretation. With your hosts, Ram and the Lamb. Spoilers ahead, and viewer discretion is advised. What would happen if you took away the fog from Silent Hill? Well, you would just be left with Hill. I think we can agree that the fog in Silent Hill is a core tenet of its design. Remove it, and you are left with no atmosphere, no dread, and no mystery. Max Durad in his video Silent Hill Mythology, The Fog World and the Other World puts forward a great interpretation
We kind of
of
watched
the
that
significance of
before
the fog
watching
in
this
Silent
video.
Hill
We
game.
watched that guy.
In that video, he explains
Not a fan
that
of
the
him.
Fog World in Silent Hill
Really?
blurs the boundaries
Oh, it's
between
just
dreams
he's
and
the
reality.
pretentious guy that I was
This
talking about.
document-
He just like the way he talks is like snobby and like
Mm.
actually this is the Marxist Jobs theory of the psychoanalytical way of how pyramid actually is in James Sunderland. It's like it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It's just pretentious, so it bothers me.
Describe the town's transitions between different worlds, comparing them to the different sleep cycles. The fog can be seen as a manifestation of the mind, representing the way the town takes unconscious thoughts and makes them physical. If we interpret the fog to represent the subconscious mind, obscuring thoughts and reality, then Silent Hill's use of ambiguity is a narrative tool that does the exact same thing. Remove the ambiguity from Silent Hill and you will be left with a soulless husk. I would argue ambiguity is as important, if not even more critical to Silent Hill's identity than the fog. Ambiguity is not just a random narrative tool in Silent Hill the same way the town's fog is not just a random artistic decision in the second game of the series. Both are at the core of the experience. You will often hear fans of the original Silent Hill state that the game has a rich, dreamlike atmosphere and presentation. One look at the original and it won't take long for you to see exactly how dreamlike it is, from the way characters talk to each other,
I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
to the way the game shifts between worlds without warning.
Yeah, the OG voice acting isn't great, but it's kind of part of the how it works.
The
Yeah.
town of
How
Silent
it-
Hill
how
acts
the
as a
story
mirror
gets
to
across.
James's subconscious, transforming his inner turmoil into a physical reality. Dreams do the exact same thing, functioning as reflections of our subconscious, being made into what can essentially be understood as movies we experience as we dream, or in the case of lucid dreaming, dream worlds that we explore and interact with. In the interpretation of dreams by Sigmund Freud, he claims that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. Freud proposed that many aspects of our unconscious mind, including repressed memories, traumas, or unresolved conflicts, manifest in dreams as distorted or symbolic representations of those feelings. In Silent Hill, those aspects of the unconscious mind don't just take a symbolic form of visions in a dream. Instead, they take a literal form capable of interacting with flesh and blood.
See? I'm real.
I think it should be clear how the idea of dreams manifesting the subconscious is directly comparable to how the town of Silent Hill transforms James's repressed guilt into tangible forms like monsters and distorted environments. Dreams are ambiguous. It's not always clear what their meaning is, like when you dream about falling. It could represent a fear of heights, loss of control, or a number of things. Ambiguity creates uncertainty, which creates horror. A smile is not unsettling or disturbing normally, but when a smile is neither evil nor good and exists in this uncertain middle ground, well, now you begin to get Lynchian.
I've never seen a David Lynch movie, so, but they sound really good. The way he describes it, they sound interesting.
That major guy creeps me. Oh shit.
He's dead.
It is no secret that Team
That's
Silent,
funny.
the original Silent Hill 2 devs, were heavily inspired by the works of David Lynch. I mean, a lot of games are inspired by Lynch. Bro's work is so influential, we use his name as an adjective. But while I often hear Twin Peaks discussed as an inspiration for Silent Hill 2, I solemnly hear about the influence that Lynch's movies had on the game, namely Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive. With any of these movies I bring up, you really should just
So they're like
let them
horror
have a
movies?
watch.
Yeah,
In the interest of
they're like
time,
psychological
we'll
horror
just
movies
watch
with a
them
little
without
element,
spoiling
with
them
elements of
unnecessarily.
comedy by the
So,
way
in
that the lines are
Remake 1,
are
Lost
delivered.
Highway is an especially
Yeah.
large inspiration for the plot of
They're
Silent
very
Hill
interesting.
2. I mean, both pieces of media center on men haunted by their traumatic past and the crime it led them to commit, namely the murder of their wives. Both men subconsciously bury the dark reality of their actions in some sort of fugue state. Both men encounter women who look identical to their respective wives, except hotter, or more accurately, an idealized and hypersexualized version of their wives. Both men are haunted by a morally ambiguous supernatural figure who pushes them into bringing their sins out of a subconscious denial and into consciousness. And finally, though the
Interesting.
men
That's
realize
crazy.
their
I know.
delusion, sorta, after watching a
It's like
tape of their
heavily inspired
heinous
by that
sin.
movie.
I think the
Yeah.
similarities speak for
That's
themselves.
literally what it was
But
in
what is
Silent
more
Hill. It's like a
interesting
hotter
is how
version of
both
his
pieces of
wife, and
media
then
use
That's the whole
ambiguity
point,
to
yeah.
create their horror.
and then
Lost
fucking
Highway is often
Pyramid Head
cited as one
is.
of Lynch's more confusing
Yep.
works. I tend to disagree with that assessment. I think it would be more accurate to say Lost Highway uses abstraction and ambiguity to a greater degree than some of his other works. Despite having a pretty similar premise to Mulholland Drive, namely with dream realities, Lost Highway stood in my head longer. Lost Highway uses ambiguity as a central storytelling device, crafting a narrative that blurs the line between reality and fantasy, much like dreams. It leaves significant gaps in objective truth for your mind to interpret. This ambiguity is not simply for confusion's sake. It is a deliberate tool used to place the audience in the position of a detective, analyzing clues, interpreting symbols, and trying to draw meaning from the gaps in the concrete markers of the story using their intuition.
Stupid little girl.
I'm very interested in logic, but there's logic.
She looks stranger in the old game.
It goes to
Mm-hmm.
toward abstraction. There can be logical things that are abstract. I really love intuition. I love intuition. And to me, what they told me is intuition is the intellect and emotions swimming together. It's like a knowingness.
The role our intuition takes when interpreting abstraction is a large part of what makes Lynch's movies so timeless and endlessly rewarding to interpret. Abstraction creates ambiguity, and ambiguity invites interpretation. The mystery man's existence is never given a concrete explanation. Is he a supernatural entity? A manifestation of Fred's guilt? Or, my personal interpretation, a manifestation of Fred's incel judgment? Lynch offers no objective answers. Only the
He's an incel!
presence of this figure who seems to defy the rules of time and space. This abstraction creates ambiguity. Instead of providing an objective
gonna be an alpha
answer
male by the
having
end
the
of this.
mystery man go on a prolonged monologue of who he really is, Lynch uses the mystery man to
Hell
evoke
yeah.
a sense of dread and unease, leaving the audience to interpret the abstraction, to interpret the surreal.
When things are concrete, very few variations in interpretation. But the more abstract a thing gets, the more varied the interpretations. But people still know inside what it is for them. And even if they don't trust their intuition, I always say that if some girl named Sally, she comes out of the theater, I don't have a clue what that means. She goes over with Bob and Jim to get a cup of coffee. Bob starts talking about what he thinks it is, because he knows exactly what it is. He starts talking. 5 seconds later, Sally is saying, no, it's not that. And all these things comes out of Sally. So Sally really did know for herself.
I love that so much,
Just
bro.
like life. You see
But at the same time, I love how he's like kind of like giving us the choice of like, what do you think it is? But at the same time, like me personally, I hate when I watch something. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, I
But I
know.
like, but I like how he interpreted that, where it's like
Yeah.
you said something, and I'm like, what the fuck? That's dumb. And then I finally say what I think, and
There's been so many times.
that's basically like my interpret. Well, fucking whatever the word.
Yeah, that's how I watch, because when I watch movies sometimes and I finish, okay, what's that famous movie? Is it called? Is it The Shining? Of that guy who like goes crazy in the house.
And the house, yeah, it's like a hotel or some shit. Or like a house, yeah, it's like a big
Yeah,
house.
yeah, he was in a big house and then like at the outside is like it's like it's all snowy and then he ends up like trying to kill
Yeah,
the girl or something or his wife.
that's like what you thought too.
Dude,
That's how you felt.
I finished The Shining and I hated it. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like
You know, it's
I did not understand it until I started watching like I still don't really understand it, but I started watching some things about like Shining interpretations and I just think like a lot of them are really dumb.
yeah.
I don't know. Like
There's another movie too I watched. I forgot what it was. I think it's called like Clockwork Orange Clock, something like that. And it's super weird and kind of because they added like a rape scene, and I'm like, okay, dude, like that shit kind of like ruined my
Oh, do you
mood,
know
cause
what?
like,
It was the bear scene from Shining, like that fucking bear that started raping whatever. Do you remember
that's
that?
weird.
It was like
I
a
never
bear
watched the Shiny.
costume. Oh
I
my
never
god.
watched the Shiny,
It was some weird animal
but
costume, and he just started fucking having sex with something else. It was
yeah,
weird.
old. I feel like
It's like
old school
I
movies
don't.
are.
It's these people that have psychological like interpretations of things, and they want the audience to interpret it. And I think
Yeah,
it's sometimes I think it's really stupid, but the way he described it is very interesting because you
yeah,
obviously have some sort of way that you interpreted that, and you
yeah,
don't know your
exactly,
interpretation until you hear someone else's interpretation, and then you can start to
exactly,
verbalize your own interpretation.
exactly. That's what I like about it. That's crazy.
So, I mean, that's
Cause
kind
like
of
it
what.
does it. Cause it doesn't make sense. Cause after he said that, before he said that, I was like in my mind, I'm like,
Yeah,
but I hate having not knowing what happened in the movie. But after he
that's.
said that, I'm like, okay, that makes
I
really good
still
sense.
kind of dislike it. Like, I would like them for to wrap it in a bow and kind of like
Yeah,
explain what's going on, but with the way that he's describing it, it leads a lot more like
yeah.
it leaves it open to conversation, which is really interesting.
I love that. That's really cool.
So I don't know, but after watching this video, I really wanted to watch some of his movies. I never have, but maybe we should,
Yeah, we
cause
should. Yeah,
yeah, we should watch it. Watch something.
Sort of the same things, but you come up with many different things as you go along as a detective.
Silent
yeah.
Hill
That's
2
really
is no
cool.
different in this regard. The game utilizes abstraction, which encourages you to stare into the abyss and find out what faces you start to see in the darkness. A well-known example of this is the abstract creature designs throughout the game. Let's take the lying figure enemies as an example, because, quite frankly, I love these things. These pitiful creatures appear humanoid, but their bodies are helplessly bound, their arms twisted and trapped within a flesh membrane. They attack James in a restrained yet violent manner, oozing black pus from their hellish cocoon. Exactly what do these creatures represent? Are they a symbol of James's repressed guilt and emotional torment? Do they symbolize a straitjacket and therefore represents James' mental state? Well, their design is somewhat sexual and reminiscent of bondage. Are they symbol of James's repressed sexual desires? Or do they
Yeah.
represent Mary's sickness, hence the black, sickly ooze? Is this how James sees Mary because of her sickness? Well, we also see a lying figure wearing James's clothes dead in an alleyway. Did all the lying figures we kill used to be different versions of James? There's no definitive answer, and that's what makes the game so interesting. The lying figures, like Lynch's abstractions in Lost Highway, act as a visual symbol that prompts us to reflect and interpret. The symbols serve as seeds, allowing us to explore multiple
Nothing, for
interpretations
some
based
reason,
on our
nothing has
own
ever
emotional and
had an
intellectual
impact
responses.
on
In
me and
both the
made me
works
think
of
about
David
it
Lynch
like
and
as much
Silent
as
Hill
Silent Hill
2,
2.
abstraction isn't
Like
just
Yeah.
I've
random
never
choice. It's a
psychoanalyzed and watched
fundamental
like these type of
aspect of the
videos
art's
until I
identity.
finished playing Silent Hill 2.
Exactly. I
Those
mean, too. I started
scenes
watching like Silent
actually
Hill
were my
videos and
dream
shit.
filled with
Yeah.
abstractions. Then can't Silent Hill 2 mean anything and everything? Doesn't it lose all meaning?
Well, no, because there are concrete details in dreams you can observe as well as ambiguous abstractions to interpret. Wait, you can talk? Listen, I'm not saying that you can reasonably claim that Silent Hill 2 was about a divorced man
You start
busting it
dancing.
down sexual
There you go.
style.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Much like dreams, the game combines both concrete elements and abstract.
That's canon, by the way.
These two things are not mutually exclusive. You can have both at the same time. There are clear facts in many people's dreams. Certain events, objects, or actions are grounded in a representation of reality. For example, let's say you had a dream that you were being chased by a figure with a pyramid on its head in a dark corridor. Well, based on that description, there are concrete details there beyond question. You're clearly in a dingy corridor. There's clearly a figure chasing you, and he clearly has a triangle on his head. That's not up for debate. There are clear objective markers which tell you what is happening. But now, if I asked you what the dream meant or represented, you might have wildly different answers. To some, it might mean that they're paranoid of being stalked. For
A lot
others,
of
it might mean
dreams
they're
I
running
put
away
no
from a
merit
dark
in. A
past,
lot of
or
people say
maybe
like
they're
every
just
single
scared of
dream has
geometry. The
meaning.
objective markers that the dream
I feel like
presents
most
are
dreams
as a
don't
seed,
really have
and
meaning.
around that seed is a
Yeah,
thick
some don't.
layer
It
of
just depends what
fog
kind
which
of dream. Because
abstracts
I've
the
had dreams
images
where they're
through
just literally
ambiguity.
just goofy.
Well, I think everyone's had those, but for some reason, there's just a lot of people that really think even the goofy dreams like have some sort of meaning, or like either before you went to bed something happened, or like something is pushed up as a repressed memory, or some like it's just how your mental state is, or how you're feeling, or something like that.
It just depends what kind of dream. If I have like a weird, freaky dream and like something happens, like I don't know, like my nose came off, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I look up what that means and shit.
Yeah, but I feel
But
like
other than that, like I
you'll
don't
find
really.
1,000 interpretations. That's why I think it's really
Yeah,
dumb, is because you'll find so many interpretations. It's like everyone has a different interpretation. That means you'll have your own interpretation. So it's like
it's so weird though
so it
because
doesn't
it's
have a
like,
meaning. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I
And
don't
that's how
know.
I feel about most movies, but Silent Hill is a little different, I guess, for me.
It's really complicated because it's like I don't even know if some people like me personally, like I don't think I trust my own interpretation because it's like I could just say anything. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I
what
don't know. It's
most
like
people too, though. Some
but
people,
some people be like
the
some
only,
people just
yeah, but the only way you'll believe some people is they just say it more confidently. It's not like they know anything more than you.
that's what I'm saying. And it's like some people are just be like, yeah, I trust what I say. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
like I don't know.
I don't know.
From that seed blossoms diverse interpretations from the audience. Silent Hill is no different in this sense. As an audience, we know that James has received a letter from his dead wife, Mary, and travels to Silent Hill in search of her. We know that he meets a woman named Maria, who looks almost identical to Mary but has a starkly different personality. As the game progresses, we know that the letter James received from his wife shows that there was no writing on it at all. Eventually, the letter completely disappears, and finally, the envelope itself vanishes as the player
I didn't even
and
realize
James
that,
reach closer to the
because I
truth.
never looked at the
These
letter
are
multiple times
objective
throughout the
markers
playthrough.
in the story. Much like
I looked
dreams,
at it
the
like
game combines
once.
both
I looked,
concrete
yeah, I was like in the
elements
beginning.
and abstract
I
mysteries.
looked at it when I
Why
saw
did the
Maria because
envelope
I'm like, wait, what
disappear?
the
How did
fuck?
James receive
Is
the
this my
letter in the
wife? And I
first
kept
place?
looking at the
These
letter.
questions are not
Hmm.
given objective
I'm like,
answers in the
yeah, it
original
is, but it
game,
isn't.
and that ambiguity is coded into the entire story. It is a big part of what makes Silent Hill 2 so interesting and horrifying. It is the same reason why dreams are so interesting. The concrete elements in Silent Hill 2 ground the story and provide a framework for its more abstract themes to flourish without devolving into random symbols. So then, knowing this about the original Silent Hill 2, does the remake retain the same level of ambiguity and dream-like atmosphere?
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
Yeah, she's not
Well,
woke.
like
I don't
most
understand what
discussions
people are
relating to
talking about.
remakes, it's a little complicated.
She's just
But I'm
fucking
going to try and
psycho,
make it
that's
as
it.
simple
She's
as
just,
possible.
well, she
There
just
are
looks pretty
three
normal.
critical creative choices
Yeah.
that make up the ambiguity of the original Silent Hill 2. By no means is this a comprehensive list, but I don't know about you, but I don't want to be stuck in this little box for longer than a feature film. Number 1.
It's already an hour and 20
War
minutes.
ambiguity. A key aspect of Silent Hill 2's enduring legacy is its ability to balance the known and the unknown. This creative choice is basically how many objective markers does the audience receive about the world or characters in the game. So for example, the objective answer that Mary is indeed dead and not just taking a nap in the back seat of James's car. Another example
Do you know
from
she was
the
back
original
there?
game is the origins
What?
of
You knew she was
Pyramid
back there, right?
Head. The game heavily implies
No.
that Pyramid Head manifests in
Oh,
the
you're gonna
way
learn
it
that then.
does because of a picture
She's in the
James
back of the car the
sees
whole
in
game.
the absolute best area in the entire game, the Silent Hill
Oh,
Historical
isn't that one of the
Society.
endings?
This
something,
building
Kind of.
or she's
It's
just kind
kind
of like
of the ending, the newer ending in that
yeah.
which one was it called? Fuck, it's my favorite ending. I forgot what it's called, but it's the
He
newer
basically
ending.
crashes the car, no?
No, that's the in water ending. Well, he does look to the back and he just sees the blanket. That's the in water ending. But their newer ending is when Mary starts talking to him and she puts like her hand from the back seat up to James's face to the front seat. So it's like she's alive and talking to him.
The fuck?
But obviously she's not alive, but she's basically talking to him and like he's going crazy and he's thinking that she's in the back seat, which she is, but yeah.
Yeah.
That one's so sad. That one hits so hard.
Damn.
He's gonna show it too. It's really good. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's in the back of the car. She's dead under a blanket the entire game. You could see it like if you took a I don't think you can see her model, but if you take a camera to the back, it looks like a dead person is under the blanket. And you
Yeah.
could look in the car and you could still see like the blanket. It looks weird. So I think he'll talk about it more, but yeah, I thought you knew that.
No.
Yeah.
first appears to be a museum created by a society which has dedicated itself to commemorating the history of Silent Hill. James can find different paintings and pictures of increasingly disturbing subjects across the museum, eventually coming across what looks like a gap in reality and an interdimensional gateway into what we can only assume is hell. After descending for what feels like hours, James seems to end up in a decrepit prison, buried deep within the town, or perhaps buried beneath the lake. But despite the environment taking an impossible turn, James comes across
That's definitely the scariest setting in the game.
Yeah.
The prison.
And eventually, he comes
Under the
across
fucking
this
Masonic
picture.
society
There's a
type of
clan
shit.
joke somewhere in
Yeah.
here, but
That's
I'm
so
honestly too spooked
it's
to
crazy.
think of it. Cult horror never really gets to me. But this moment and this whole area just works because of the way it gets my mind racing with possible meanings. Did James encounter the picture during a previous visit to Silent Hill, perhaps during his honeymoon, and now that he is being judged, manifest this executioner-looking guy as Pyramid Head? But why would this picture only resurface in his memory after he killed his wife? Is Pyramid Head simply a manifestation of James's psyche? Or does the cult of Silent Hill have some role in its creation, since Pyramid Head looks like one of their cult members? Or maybe this picture was never real, and is instead James's psyche projecting Pyramid Head's appearance onto the picture? These questions are never definitively answered, and it's that very ambiguity that makes Pyramid Head feel otherworldly, and something we can never fully unravel. And as I've been saying, this balance of clear facts with interpretive gaps is integral to the horror of Silent Hill 2. Now in the remake, Bloober Team preserves most of the lore ambiguity. They pretty much follow the plot and lore details of the original pretty closely without changing too much. But the remake does take small steps towards providing objective answers in other parts of the lore. One notable change involves the illness that would have led to Mary's death. In the original game, the nature of her sickness is left pretty vague. We only see her symptoms, such as a persistent cough and her skin condition. However, in the remake, we can find a receipt for medications in an early game apartment section. The medications found on this receipt are not real per se, but rather are thinly veiled stand-ins for real-world drugs. Many of these medications pointing directly to treatments for blood cancers and anxiety disorders. This shift, while minute, nudges the player towards a more definitive understanding of Mary's condition.
See, this is what I really like about what Bloober Team did is they made some very small changes that push it into a direction of telling a more broad or more condensed story, but still keeping it vague enough to where you can have a ton of questions. And
Yeah.
then, like the time loop theory, like literally anything could be correct, which is what makes it actually more fun that anything could be canon, which is what Ito said that basically every ending is canon himself. So that means new endings can be canon too, which is what Bloober Team did. They added 2 new endings.
Yeah.
So just
That's
little
crazy.
details like this where they give a more like specified illness or condition, like I don't know, I just think it adds to the lore and it makes it just all the more interesting.
Yeah.
specifically suggesting she may have had some form of blood cancer. In the original, Mary's illness was implied to be respiratory and skin related, but there was never really any confirmation on the specific type of illness she had. And honestly, I'm not sure knowing that fact adds anything to the story.
I
The
like
illness
it.
itself was a
I
narrative
think it's more
tool, which could
lore.
be interpreted as a symbol of
Mhm.
unpredictable strain that can plague a marriage. The illness reflected the famous Protestant marital vows, which reads as follows. I, Ram, take thee to be my wedded, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. By keeping Mary's illness vague, the original game allowed the illness to function as a broader symbol for terminal illness disrupting a marriage, rather than a specific medical diagnosis. But in the remake, with these medications hinting at a more specific illness, it edges closer to confirmation, shifting the focus away from symbolic interpretation and towards literal fact. Honestly, this edition is a bit of a lose-lose situation if the remake was trying to, remake the original game. Because this receipt doesn't outwardly confirm Mary's illness was a type of blood cancer, but it heavily suggests so. It's clear that Bloober
Alright, so what do you think? Because he thinks that it takes away from the ambiguity and it takes away from the discussion to automatically, like, kind of solidify what the condition was.
I mean, what would be the difference if they didn't? Like,
Because if they didn't, then he, like he just said, it's more like a metaphor for something else.
mm,
Because I,
he does make sense. It just depends, bro, because it's like
it depends on what
this is
it depends on what type of outlook you're trying to get from it.
exactly and it depends what you like as well. Like, you know what you're saying? Like, you like the lore,
I
like
I
what
like the
you
lore
know
and I like having it tied up a little bit better.
exactly. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
why
And I
I
feel like
don't
most
like a lot of
people
movies that are open to interpretations because it's like
exactly.
there's no it's just not complete enough. It feels like it's half baked and it feels like it's lazy to me. This makes
To
it
me,
feel
yeah.
more I don't know. I feel like adding little details like that just makes it feel more like complete to me. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, because personally, like, I'm like the same way. Like, I kind of like how they tied up some stuff.
Hmm.
But like, if you're like some like hardcore, like, like, oh no, that
Yeah.
just takes away like a bunch. Like,
Psychoanalytical or like
yeah,
they want it
like
to
if
be
that's what you
exactly
think,
the same as like the remake has to be exactly and they can't do anything different.
yeah.
I
And
could
it's
see
like
those type of people.
if that's what you like, then that's what you like. I feel like it's just personal, but like me personally, like we have the same kind of like outlook on it. It's like we kind of
Yeah.
like stuff more tied up, so
Yeah.
I don't really,
I understand what he's saying, but
yeah.
I don't know. I prefer them giving a little more detail. And I
No,
think it
same.
still fits perfectly fine. So,
No, it does, yeah.
did not want to confirm what specific type of illness it was, since they use implication here rather than outright stating it. So, if you think giving a definitive answer to this mystery in the original is a bad idea, then you are acknowledging that ambiguity is a key aspect of the Silent Hill 2 formula. And if you agree that ambiguity is essential to Silent Hill 2 and what gives it its identity, why would you endorse a narrative addition that gets very close to confirming the answer to this mystery? Also, if her condition is a blood cancer, why does Maria cough in her ending? The rationale behind this addition is confusing. Me being not so subtly told that Mary's disease was a type of blood cancer doesn't transform the narrative enough to be interesting, yet simultaneously lessens the ambiguity that makes the symbolic identity of the original. In other words, it's, at best, a redundant lore addition. And you might be thinking this is an incredibly small and nitpicky example. And sure, it is small. It doesn't really change the
I
experience
just
that much,
think
at least not for me.
having
But
too
I think
much
it furthers
ambiguity
my
is
point
lazy.
that ambiguity is a
Exactly.
core
That's what I
aspect of
think
Silent
too.
Hill 2.
I think
Too
it's
much
just
ambiguity means you don't want to work hard enough, so you're
yeah,
making
I
the
feel like
audience interpret it
annoying
themselves.
exactly, and annoying
It's a dumb trope.
like no like big studios and stuff, they can easily say just be like, oh, like
Hmm.
I don't feel like doing all that work. Let's just let people
And then there's some idiots out
figure it
there
out
that'll be like,
themselves,
"Oh
you
my
know?
God, it's a masterpiece." Like, like it's to me, it's just like no, they didn't want to tell a complete narrative.
Yeah, I feel like they should be in the middle, and I kind of like how they kind of tie some stuff up.
I
Like,
do think this is a very small detail, but I'm just
yeah,
saying things in general that are like this add to
they
the
shouldn't.
lore and add to
Exactly,
a story. And I get what he's saying.
exactly,
I understand what he's saying, but to me, it means that they cared a little more. So
exactly. Yeah, it shows if they had more of a, like lore, like it shows that they actually care about the story and
yeah, it cares
all
what
that stuff.
they care about what they're making
Yeah.
instead of just trying to be like, oh, I don't know. It's open to interpretation. Like it's just kind of dumb.
Whose
Yeah.
identity, and that filling in the gaps of ambiguity in a narrative is inherently reinterpreting it to follow a new vision. And while Bluebird generally preserve the ambiguous presentation when it comes to the lore and plot, the same cannot be said for other ambiguities I'll be discussing later. But before that whole thing, let's move on
Yeah,
to
less
number
ambiguity
2,
and
visual abstraction.
straying away
This
from the
creative
original
choice is just how
art is not a
abstract we
bad
make the
thing.
visuals in the enemy
It's their
designs, character
interpretation, and I
designs,
think their
environments,
interpretation
etc. The more
is just
abstract
as
the visual
valid as
is,
like
the more ambiguity,
another
and
YouTuber's
hence the more
interpretation. So,
interpretation, such as
Who the
Pyramid
creators?
Head. But
like Bloober Team's interpretation.
No, I feel like the people who make it, their interpretation should be more valid, like
I'm
than
just
some
I'm just
random
saying.
ass
Oh,
fucking
that's what I
YouTuber.
think too. But I'm saying like
Yeah,
what makes Bloober Team's interpretation any different than a different YouTuber, like another YouTuber's, is like actually I think this is what it should be.
yeah.
Like
Cause I
everyone
don't know. I
has their own
rather,
opinion, but
yeah.
I think Bloober Team's is perfectly fine and it helps create a more complete narrative.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
other people would be like, actually no, because this is what this means and this is how it solves into this. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
to the less abstract, the more objective the visual becomes, such as Eddie's gut. Bloober was very faithful to the original game in this regard. The enemy designs are pretty much a one-to-one with no major visual changes to my understanding.
Good.
Across the board,
Keep
it just
Ito's
seems
masterpiece
like they
the way it
added more
is.
detail while
Exactly,
sticking to
yeah.
the original design. Well, except for Pyramid Boy.
Yeah, they made him
Talk
more
a bit
buff.
more in depth about how they changed his character in the next section, but I need to just get something.
They made
off
him
my
more like
chest
an evil villain.
Why did they make him a beefcake? What the hell, Bloober? I want Beefcake James, not Pyramid Head. What did you do to Beefcake James? Give me Beefcake James.
And they called the game woke.
Remember when the entire community
If it was woke, they would have made
the
Pyramid
Silent
Head
Hill movie
fat
came
or
out
something.
because they made Pyramid Head a I mean, there were bigger problems with his inclusion in that movie. But making him yoked out of his overalls was certainly a choice. While not as extreme, Bloober seems to have pressured Pyramid Head to get back on that sweet, sweet apple juice for a couple of cycles. Not sure why, to be honest. It doesn't make him scarier. If anything, it probably turns a lot of you sickos on. But besides the way they
I know
massacred
someone
my
who
boy,
is
Bloober pretty much
obsessed
stuck
with
to the
Pyramid Head
original
just
like
because
glue
of
in
the
visual
movie making
abstract
him look
design.
buff.
Even new
That's
areas they
crazy.
added
They never
had
played the
some
game either, they
balance
just
or
watched the
concrete
movie.
and abstract design that the original did, such as the
Nah,
Abstract Daddy
bruh.
boss fight. I don't really have much time to go into how good the Abstract Daddy boss fight is, but the changes they made really just add on to the original design in very interesting ways.
Add on. See?
Okay, number
It's a good thing.
3, character abstraction. Okay, this creative choice is how the characters behave and are presented. This can include facial expressions, body movements, and voice line delivery. A character can be presented in a way that makes them feel closer to reality, or more detached, like something from a dream. The original Silent Hill 2 plays with these elements throughout the presentation of its characters to evoke a surreal atmosphere, blurring the lines between reality and the dream world. By far, I think this is the area of the original game's narrative that Bloober reinterpreted and changed the most. Let's begin with the big boy himself, Pyramid Head. In the original game, Pyramid Head had an almost mythical and nightmarish presence. Every time he'd come on the screen, you knew you were about to be subjected to some wild shit. He was awesome, because he really did feel like he came out of a fever dream. The same way the Mystery Man gives that same ominous aura in Lost Highway. Both truly feel like untouchable, ambiguously sinister and abstract forces tied to the guilt and subconscious of their hosts. In the remake, Pyramid Head feels different. The shift in presentation makes him feel less like a shadowy manifestation
What he says is
and
interesting.
more like a designed antagonist. Quite frankly, he reminds me of a slasher villain. I mean, just look at the way he walks now. Yeah, you're not fooling me, Bloober. That's just Jason Voorhees under that triangle hat, isn't it? In the original, he moved like he wasn't human, like an otherworldly spirit or creature. The way he moves in the original has always reminded me of this iconic scene in the classic J-horror movie, Cairo.
Oh shit.
Japanese horror. So this is exactly how
In the
Silent Hill
original,
F
I
is gonna
legitimately
kind of
could
look,
not guess
where
what
they're all
this
weird
mad
like
lad
that.
would do next.
Fuck
He
yeah.
felt so bizarre and ambiguously evil. 1 second, he's doing unspeakable.
But this is kind of okay. Wow, what a frame to pause on. But this is kind of what Ito was kind of doing. Well, I mean, Ito is Japanese, of course, but I guess he had more thoughts of like J horror. So moving him
Like the way they
abstract,
move.
having him move abstract would be more like otherworldly and like mysterious
Uh-huh.
instead of being like a slasher villain. And
Hmm.
Bloober is obviously, I don't think they're not Japanese. It's an American team.
Yeah.
So the way that they interpreted him is more like, well, they
American horror. Like,
kind of where it's more serious
like
and
yeah.
like more atmosphere and stuff like that. But I don't think that's
But
technically a bad thing
that
because what they did with the whole Silent Hill 2 story, which I think it'll go over a little later when they start talking about the voice actors and stuff and how the
yeah.
old game compares, they made this game more serious. They made the voice acting like better and more serious. They made the villain more serious. And I think that doesn't take away from the new narrative they were telling compared to the old narrative. I think it just adds on to it. And the whole video is talking about how it's a sequel, so it's like their retelling of Silent Hill.
Hmm.
So I think it works, and I think they both have their ups and downs and their goods.
They're both good. I just cause like I don't know. I don't really care, but I kind of know now that I understand what he's talking about, like his movements and all that. They want to like they kind of like switched it. I feel like it kind of would have been just better to keep it like that because it would have been more
I
interesting.
think it would have been more interesting, but when you take into the account you'll hear it later more about like the voice acting and the comparing the complete like how the games differ because they do differ
Mhm.
in their narrative how they tell the narrative a lot. It differs.
Yeah.
So you can tell that the new game was a lot more serious, especially with how they're trying to like how they try to give Mary a real disease. They're trying to tell a more complete narrative that's more serious. So I
Yeah.
think it makes a lot of sense when you take what they did with the disease and the receipt, and then they start
Hmm.
making Pyramid Head less abstract and like kind of goofy. You kind of
Hmm.
understand what narrative that they're trying to go for, especially with the voice actor being way better and James
That's
being
true.
less like of a psychopath, which he'll go over
I,
later.
f- I feel like it would have been a
Because
lot. I feel like
James is very relatable in the new game.
yeah. I feel like it personally. I feel like it would have been more creepier having like
I
Pyramid
think
Head
I personally
keep his
okay.
movements, you know,
I
like his
personally
creepy
think
ass
it would have
weird
been
movement.
creepier. Yeah, I personally think it would have been creepier. But what Bloober was going for was a more serious, more westernized, and
Yeah.
serious approach. So with everything that they were doing, I can see what they were doing and I can
Hmm.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I personally think that having him flail around and look like a weird guy still would have been good.
Yeah.
It
That would
would
have
have
been
worked.
really good
It would have
because it would have been
worked.
like because it's like some huge
Yeah.
dude moving crazy, and you're just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
that. I feel like
Yeah.
that's more scary than like he was still scary, like
Yeah.
him slow walking and shit. That's still scary, but like seen a big dude move all crazy, you're like, hell no, like, you know? Because
Yeah.
you're already like that, just seeing him. You're still like, hell no, but like, seeing him like
If he's being
flail
weird and
around,
yeah,
and I'm throwing, oh, that would have been like, oh yeah, nah, 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 like, that's
yeah.
way more scary.
I agree with you, and I think it would have been cool for him to act like fucking weird like that. But
Yeah,
at the same time, I understand what Bloober was doing because they made like four
yeah,
different changes where they were trying to make it a more serious and
yeah.
complete
It's not,
narrative. So I
yeah,
don't
it's
think it's
not bad
bad.
though.
I don't think it's bad. I just
But
think
it would have been cool though
it
to
would have
see
been
it.
cool. Well, that's why we have the other game to
Yeah,
basically do that for us, and he'll go over it a little more
yeah,
later, but I just wanted to say that now. I think
yeah.
it makes sense what Bloober was doing, and I don't think it's a bad thing. There's people out
Mm,
there who probably think it's a bad thing, but
no, it's not.
Things to a pair of mannequins. The next he's leaving me alone and ignoring me after I mag dump him. And here I am thinking we're cool when all of a sudden I walk in on him getting freaky again, and he doesn't appreciate
Oh
having
nah.
that was definitely censored in the new game, though. They did not
Yeah,
Alright,
make it.
I don't
as good a
think,
They didn't
time
do
as
that.
any to talk about
I don't think they added that stuff.
They didn't.
I see a lot of people talking about the censoring of Pyramid Head's first cutscene.
Oh yeah.
And honestly,
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of time discussing the first one in that light. Sure, I personally think the original cutscene was more impactful because it's so sudden and therefore shocking. But if you ignore the presentation of the scene for a second, they really didn't censor much from the original. The exact same thing still happens.
Yeah,
You just
they
don't
just
get a
didn't get
full-on view of
graphic.
it. And in my opinion, I
Same
think that
thing.
works, because our minds are more readily able to fill in the gaps. In the original, you could clearly see there was nothing explicitly sexual going on. Emphasis on explicitly. But in the remake, it's much easier to interpret.
That was Ito,
Wait, go
by the
back?
way.
Explicit.
I purposely built the motions of the two creatures to look sexual, but to be accurate, it isn't sexual. So
Yeah,
they're
'cause I
not
remember when I
directly
saw
having
that.
sex, but it looks sexual.
Yeah, because when I first saw that, I thought he was just like mutilating them. Like I thought he was creating the
Oh,
creatures. That's what I
yeah.
thought.
I thought
Because
he
I was
was
like,
kind of like putting them together. Because
exactly,
when I
yeah,
was going into Silent Hill, I literally have never played a Silent Hill game, and I kind of expected more like Resident Evil. Because I kind of knew more about Resident Evil than I did Silent Hill. Now I know more about Silent Hill than I did Resident Evil, but
yeah,
I kind of just expected like creepy town, scary monsters looking for your wife. That's kind of all I knew,
yeah,
and I didn't really know who Pyramid Head was. And then I thought he was basically creating these creatures, like sewing
exactly,
them
yeah.
together.
That's what I
I
thought.
I thought he was kind of doing something like that, but
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I did not think he was like fucking raping them or some shit. Like,
well, as you can see, this is Ito, the creator of it. He did not.
yeah,
They're not having sex, but it's supposed to like look freaky, I guess. Like they're supposed to look like they're doing some sort of sexual motion, which is the whole point
interesting.
of the characters in general, because they're supposed to be James's like repression of what he expects Mary to be.
Yeah,
So it makes sense, but they're not directly doing it. So, and
that's
if
interesting.
Pyramid Head is James's like kind of projecting himself as the Pyramid Head, then it makes sense.
Yeah,
But in the remake, it's much easier to interpret what he's doing as sexual abuse. So I really don't understand why people are crying over this scene's changes regarding
Twoke!
censorship when it really isn't much different. And I especially don't understand how these same people are making a whole fuss over this first scene, but not a peep comes out of them about Pyramid Head's second cutscene. Because, yeah, this is straight up a completely different scene than the original game, and it's very clearly toned down to remove any sexual implication. And before you start smashing your keyboards, yelling at me about how Ito, the original creature designer for Silent Hill 2, disavowed any sexual interpretations of Pyramid Head, don't worry, I'm well aware of his tweets, and will address them at a later chapter of this video. Either way, at the very least, it should be clear
Some
to
people
anyone with
will
more
be
than
like,
one
actually,
brain cell
Ito's
that
wrong,
this is a different
when he's the one who's
approach
literally
to
fucking made it.
presentation to Pyramid
that's so
Head's
stupid. I don't know how why people
the
would actually
abstraction that
think
made
that.
Pyramid Head
There's so
such
many
an
people that
iconic
are like,
figure
actually, I
has
don't
been
think Ito
changed
knows what
quite a
he's
bit
talking
in the
about.
way that he behaves.
Like, bro, he
That's not to say
created.
that
Like,
none
how are
of
you
this
gonna
is
say
real.
that?
It's been
Yeah,
characterization.
there you go back real
The
quick. But
abstraction
yeah,
that made Pyramid Head such an iconic figure has been changed quite a bit in the way that he behaves. That's not to say the nightmare surreal quality he used to have isn't there at all. They certainly kept some of it, but a lot of it just falls flat of the original for me, while other attempts honestly look great. I'm a particular fan of this shot. And just to be clear, while I can't say I'm fond of most of these Pyramid Head changes, my main point is to simply illustrate that Bloober's remake offers a different level of character abstraction than what the original did. Whether you're a fan of the new changes or not does not change the fact that the character abstraction is different in the remake. But
Yeah,
speaking
it is
of
different.
differences, one of the most polarizing
I don't think it's
points of
bad
the
though.
original
Like I
Silent
do
Hill 2
prefer the
story
weird like
presentation has to
craziness,
be the
but
voice acting
I
Yeah.
think it fits
Very-
what Bloober was trying to do. So
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, okay, wait, pause real quick. So like I feel like it would have been better if they did keep it, cause like you know how like they're trying to go for like a more serious vibe, but then also like the whole vibe switch when you were talking about like Maria and shit, or like I was telling you how like
okay, yeah.
I hate the
Earlier
music and
when we
stuff.
were recording this, before we were recording this, he thought that Maria should have every time Maria was on screen, they kind of vibe switched her and made
And
her
I
more
hated it
like
so much.
more lighthearted, and it took away from the tone of just exploring through Silent Hill
Exactly.
being creeped out, and then Maria all of a sudden makes it weird, like a weird like romance thing.
Yeah, that's what I hate about it, cause I'm like, bro, I'm trying to find my wife. I'm not trying to be with you. And I hated that so much, but then
But then I said I
Morris
think that's the
explained it
yeah.
basically.
I think that
He just explained it.
basically what I said is I think that's the whole point of
Yeah.
Silent Hill of this game is that she is supposed to be like a switch in the vibe and in the storytelling in general because James is looking for his wife and then he sees someone who's basically exactly like his wife that's trying to take him astray from his goal or mission and then he doesn't want to get distracted from her. So it's like as you're playing as
Yeah.
James, this is a distraction. And if you're distracted from what's going on, and Dimon Elijah was saying that he was distracted, that's the whole point. Like Maria's supposed to distract you from what you were trying to do.
That makes sense, but I feel
So,
like they should have kept if they're going with the vibe switch with that, I feel like they should have kept that with Pyramid Head. Cause it's
well,
like
I
it
think
gets
this is
serious
an
and stuff.
integral part of the narrative with everything. When I think Pyramid Head acting like a weird, like ghostly goofball isn't
Yeah.
like integral to the narrative unless you're trying to tell what the old game was doing because they were telling a new more serious narrative because having the vibe switch with Maria is not taking away from the seriousness, it's just taking away from your goal, like your main mission. It doesn't completely change like how serious the situation is. It what it
No,
does is
yeah.
change like the vibe because you were freaked out a second ago and now it's like why is there a romance going on? But it doesn't mean
Yeah.
like it's a goofy romance, like it still was serious. Like it's a different
Yeah.
type. It's a different type of switch, I guess.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like it would have been cooler to keep that
Like I
weirdness
said,
with
I do think
Pyramid
the
Head.
abstraction with Pyramid Head is weird, but I think what they were, I think it's good, but I think I know what they're going for. It's more serious approach.
Yeah.
So
Would have been, I don't know, I feel like it would
I
have
don't.
been
I
cool
think the
because they
perfect game would be a mix of two, but like a mix of like the old game and the new game, like a mix of
yeah.
ideas would be the best. But I don't
No,
know.
yeah.
I think it's fine.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
And honestly, it might be one of the more misunderstood aspects of the original by both critics and defenders alike. I often hear people say that the original voice acting was simultaneously flat and overdramatic. Some saying it's too goofy, and quite possibly the worst take I've ever heard about the dialogue. It's bad on purpose. I'm not a fan of implying universal quality standards on creative
It's supposed to be
choices.
weird. Like it's
Silent Hill
supposed to
2's
fall flat
dialogue
sometimes.
was never trying to be, quote, good voice acting. Which, to be more specific, these individuals are most likely referring to modern film line delivery when they say good. Rather
Yeah.
than aiming for smooth, realistic dialogue, the original game leans heavily into a surreal and eerie style reminiscent of dreams. Yes, that's right. Dialogue delivery can also be abstracted. This offbeat delivery isn't a failed attempt at good line delivery. It's a fundamental part of how the game creates a surreal dream atmosphere. In order to understand where Team Silent likely took inspiration for the dialogue delivery, we can once again turn our eyes to Lynch.
I just wanted to come here.
To Winkies?
This Winkies.
Okay. Why this Winkies?
It's kind of embarrassing.
Go ahead.
I had a dream about this place.
In Lynch's movies, his characters speak with strange pauses, flat or awkward intonations, and a lack of conventional emotional cues. Actors in his films often oscillate between flat delivery and sudden intense bursts of emotion. This style breaks the viewer's expectations of natural dialogue, creating a sense of discomfort and surrealism, immersing the audience in a world that doesn't follow the typical rhythms of speech and conversation.
Fuck! What are you looking at? Nothing. Don't you look at me, fuck! I shoot when I see the whites of the eyes.
It emphasizes a feeling of wrongness, making every line feel both distant and intimate, as though characters are speaking from a dream but with all the authenticity of reality. It's awkward, yes, but it's genuine. Silent Hill 2's original delivery is stylized similarly to blur the lines between reality and nightmare. For further example, you'll notice characters in the game use a similar dynamic range as in Lynch's works, where some lines are delivered flat, avoiding the conventional ways of expressing emotion.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I'm James.
Other lines are dynamic and dramatized.
Yeah,
What do
I'm
you mean,
James.
anyway? You don't sound very happy to see me. I was almost killed back there. Why didn't you try to save me?
Another example is how James's lines often sound passive, uncertain, and distant.
Did you find the person you're looking for?
Not yet. Her name's Mary. She's my wife.
This underplay
Doesn't that sound very similar to the movie, like David Lynch's movie, when they were talking to each other? Like the way they pause and just the way that they kind of sound.
Intensifies her vulnerability.
In a way, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
was
it's
just...
okay. I didn't mean to scare you.
Adding layers to her traumatic past and making her feel suspended between childhood and adulthood, which her character model also reflects. She is canonically 19, but her physical appearance seems closer to 30. This surreal and abstract presentation of the characters reminds the player that they're in a reality that is far from normal, but still very much deals with real emotions, real trauma, and real darkness. Another misunderstood aspect of the original's dialogue is the comedic delivery of some lines. It's a humor based in absurdity.
I remember I found the
the
secret trophy for this part.
Yeah, the pizza part.
Yeah.
How could you be eating
Delivery
pizza?
can turn a banal line into something comically strange.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza? She said she was fine by herself. Forget you.
Again, this approach to comedy and horror is very Lynchian. Lynch has a unique approach to comedy that hinges on the absurdity of the mundane.
Yeah, they were heavily
dark,
inspired
mixed with an odd
by
detachment.
Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
Boo!
What?
I often often hear this idea that comedy is in direct opposition to horror. If something is funny, then it's not scary. And if something is
It's not
scary,
true.
it's not funny. Nay, I say, you can have both play along in
You can have
harmony
something
without
like
having one
shocking and
dominating
weird
the
and
other.
like freaky, but
I'm
also
very
be
interested
funny.
in humor. I'm interested
I feel like
in
it just
in
depends.
a
It
humor
It
depends on what
depends
type
on the
of
that
person
humor.
you are.
It depends on the type of
Yeah.
humor, but it definitely can
horror
align.
or fear
Because I feel
or
like a regular
be
person
something
would
more
get
more
scared, but then
serious.
like us,
I think
we'd
the
find that funny because it's just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't
no,
know.
I'm not talking about shock humor and shock horror. I'm talking about like just freaky, weird, unexplainable stuff. You can add elements of humor into it.
No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, just look at these two scenes from Lynch's first feature-length movie, Eraserhead.
Yeah, like I would have laughed at that shit.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like
weird
it's
and
just like,
freaky, but it's like you just don't know what to feel. And I feel like
yeah,
that has an impact when you have so many different emotions to one scene, you remember it better,
yeah.
honestly. Like it leaves a better impact on you. Like what are you supposed to think when you see something like this? Like I'm not scared, but it is freaky, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's so like strange that you just can't help but like laugh, you know? I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know.
Pretty surreal and nightmarish, right? Well, here's the scene that follows this one.
No one's gonna answer, bud. No one's. There you go.
Okay, Paul!
Okay,
Silence
Paul.
2 taps into the same disorienting balance of horror and comedy, where characters sometimes deliver
Yeah.
lines or act in ways that feel comically out of place, yet strangely right. Eddie's character is a strong example of this. The original Eddie had this awkward mix
Fucking
of being
ass crack.
comical and stable and tragic. He had some goofy goober moments that contrasted with his later descent into violence. I mean, even if you haven't played the original yourself, you've probably seen this pizza scene before.
How can you sit there and eat pizza?
This is probably one of the most ridiculous scenes in the series.
They did
that
make
isn't
Eddie
just a
more
joke
serious
ending. I think
in
it's
the
easy
whole
to
thing.
chalk this scene up as a
That's what I'm
failure
saying
of
is
some silent
they modernized it for a more like serious Western audience, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. That's
No,
why
it's not.
that's why you can't have like a weird abstract pyramid head if everything else is serious.
But I feel like that still would have
I would have
added.
personally
That
yeah,
still would have added
I
that
get what you're
like.
saying. I get what you're saying, but think about it in a more like general audience, like someone who's never played the game before and they're just
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
like they're gonna be like, why is this weird pyramid thing like acting like why is he glitching out? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna understand it. You and I, we would think that's freaky and it adds to the horror, but everyone else might
Mhm.
be too weirded out and think it's like too strange or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
you try to think more of a general audience. And if
Yeah, that
you're
makes sense.
trying to remake it for a general modern audience, because this game is like it's like 20 years old, over 20 years old.
Mhm.
So it's just you're trying to reinterpret it, which is what I think that they did, and I think they did it well. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the perfect game would be a mix of the two, though. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but I understand what Bloober was trying to do because they were trying to modernize it, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Mhm.
And the voice actors in communicating a dramatic and serious scene because of how ridiculous it comes off. But that's exactly the problem with this way of thinking. You're assuming this scene is meant to be something other than ridiculous. No, the scene is ridiculous, and that's not a flaw. This scene is meant to disarm the player into
Gutless
seeing
fatso.
Eddie as this pathetic.
Yeah, he said that's not a flaw, that it's ridiculous, but a lot of modern people, like, you know, random kids our age that are like in high school or something like that, like they
Yeah.
might look at this and they might think it's too weird and abstract and they'll never play it. But they'll play the new one
Hmm.
because it's more of a modern style
Yeah,
that they're used to.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So, I don't know, you give and take, and I think it's good, and it's really cool how there's like an endless time loop theory, and Ito said that all theories are technically true.
Hmm.
If you take this time loop theory, that means everyone's perspective can be true, which usually I would think is
Hmm.
kind of lazy, but I think it's interesting with this
No,
because
yeah.
Silent Hill is just Silent Hill. Like like
Yeah.
you can't really explain it.
Yeah.
Joke of a person who couldn't possibly be capable of harming others. The original does the exact same thing with James and Angela in the early parts of the story. While not doing so through humor, the game attempts to plant the seed in the player's head that James is a meek and passive person, and that Angela is a sensitive and damaged victim. This early presentation of their characters is what creates the surprise when you find out the violent past of each of these characters. The contrast makes the realization much more impactful, and the same goes for Eddie's humorous presentation. But you know what? No, you guys are right. This scene is too goofy for such a serious game such as Silent Hill 2. You know what would make this scene better? Some actual good and deeply celebrated modern voice actors.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
She said she was fine by herself.
Forget you.
Oh yes, that modernized Hollywood acting definitely improved the scene, guys. You were right all along. Fucking hell. But let's look at how the remake handles this
I can't lie.
scene.
I agree with people like that because it's like,
You
wait,
think
so
it
they
did
did
it?
do it on purpose?
You think
It did do it on purpose to make the acting like really like flat and shit.
they did it on purpose to make it more Lynchian and dreamlike, where it was supposed to be. It's not bad on purpose, but it's supposed
Mhm.
to be like strange. Like the voice acting is
Okay,
not
that
supposed to
makes sense.
sound great or good, but it's supposed to be strange. And everything about the Silent Hill original is strange, honestly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it wasn't. That's what I like about the remake. They didn't keep it flat like that, you know.
I
It
that's
was,
what I really like is I really love the voice
yeah,
acting in the new game.
that's
So
good, yeah. But I don't know. People who I don't know. So people really they rather have like that flat voice acting or what? Like,
I mean, there's some people like these guys who they psychoanalyze like movies and literature and games and stuff and stories, and they like the ambiguity and they like more abstract stuff because it's more interesting and it it's not just what they're seeing in front of them. Like they're not just taking the story that they see in front of them and absorbing it. They're taking the story that they see in front of them, how people act and move, trying to psychoanalyze it and then adding it to a different narrative that's like outside of the realm of the story, and it's like this
yeah,
relates to this psychological idea which relates to this other thing. Like they're
yeah.
trying to connect the dots to other things that are not just directly in the game or narrative that they're looking at.
I just feel like a good thing is just having an equal amount of both. You know what I mean? Like, of
Yeah,
just
it's too
a whole
some people
story.
like too abstract, but too abstract is something that I'm not a fan of because it just feels either lazy or too out there and too crazy, and it's like you can't even keep up with it.
Cause like the voice acting, like yeah, like me personally, like if I hear like shitty voice acting, I'm gonna think it's shitty voice acting, you know? But like if they had like maybe like a certain character have shitty voice acting, then that would add the whole like interpretation of why they have shitty voice acting on purpose or something like that or whatever, you know what I mean? Like
Well, maybe the whole
I
thing
don't
could
know.
just be a cope, you know? Like people could just be saying it's actually bad, but it's abstract, blah blah blah, but they're just coping because people
No,
are making fun of their favorite game.
it's probably just coke because it is horrible voice acting. Cause
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see that, but at the same time, I think they have something more deep than just its cope with Silent Hill because of the Lynchian, because of David Lynch, and because
Yeah.
of the dreamlike state, and because of like Ito and his creations, and because of the bigger narrative that they were trying to make. I think
Hmm.
there's like there's definitely more that they were trying to do with the voice acting than just it's bad, because they were trying
Yeah,
to do
that's
more with
true. Yeah.
everything else. With other stuff,
Yeah.
I would say maybe you're looking too far, you're looking way too deep into it. That's like a schizophrenic way of thinking. Like it's just kind of stupid. When this, I think it's not schizophrenic. I think they actually did. They have a case
Yeah.
with everything else that's going on in the narrative in the game and the characters. I think it's not far-fetched to say that the voice acting is supposed to be bad, quote unquote, and flat and
Yeah.
strange on purpose.
Yeah.
Because other stuff is strange on purpose and
Yeah.
strange and like otherworldly. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, you're,
James. We met back at the apartment building.
yeah, I remember.
I see that you didn't make it out yet.
Yeah. I just
There's
didn't
the
get
pizza.
around to it yet.
Yeah.
Sure,
Bro, hungry or what?
Okay, this is a real. I forgot what he says about this scene, but this is a really good scene because this is a new scene that Bloober put in to replace the
Hmm.
other pizza one, and
Yeah.
this is very Lynchian to me with the way that they talk. It's like weird, awkward pauses and like
Yeah.
strange. Eddie has flat voice acting when James has
Yeah,
more normal
exactly.
voice acting, but he also is like adding bits of comedy. He looks at the pizza and he's like, "Well, you got your appetite back."
Yeah.
Like this
And
feels
then
very
the fact that
Lynchian.
he's eating fucking ice cream with his hands like a fucking toddler and
Yeah,
shit.
well,
Like,
he's just because he's like I don't like he made friends with a little girl and he's acting like even younger than the little
yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
It like this feels dreamlike and the way he's eating is just
Yeah.
like that feels dreamlike,
Yeah.
but this is in my opinion more well done. Obviously, it should be more well done
I
because of its like 2 decades of technological advancements, but
yeah.
like this is really well done, I think. I don't think it takes away from the old idea and narrative that Silent Hill was supposed to have,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it does add to it
Yeah.
without it just being all serious. Like you can
Mhm.
have some seriousness and have some weird elements without it being totally weird. Like this is a good middle ground that I was talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is really well done. I forgot what he says about this. I want to say he praises it, but I could be wrong. Just wipes it on his
That's
shirt.
probably just Laura
Nah.
messing around.
The little girl? Laura, is that her name?
That's what she said.
How
I'm gonna
lifeless
go
it
look for
looks.
Mhm.
You coming?
Now you want me to come with you?
Never mind.
Pretty much a night and day difference when it comes to tone and presentation. Eddie's lines are delivered with a serious and grounded style, which presents his character in a more straightforward, almost tragic realism that wasn't in the original. He's presented less as a caricature on the edge of sanity, and more as a sympathetic character, stripped of the absurd humor that made the scene feel bizarre and surreal in the original.
I
Of
think
course,
there
you
is
still
weird
get
humor in
some
the
humor
new
here
one.
with
Yeah,
the
exactly.
awkward silence as Eddie licks his fingers, but I think it's pretty clear that the direction Bloober took is quite different here. To get rid of Eddie's humorous side is to fundamentally change who the character is. His character was originally designed to create an uneasy feeling, a balance between absurdity and menace. We can see the same design in Lich's humor, but also the movie character I think Eddie is directly inspired by, Private Pyle from Full Metal Jacket. Both characters are essentially a
Oh,
mirror of each
that
other,
movie's
both in the ways they're ridiculed for their weight and their transition from comically pitiful to an unhinged
What?
menace. Eddie's confession scene itself feels like it was
this movie's
heavily
crazy. I
inspired
remember I
by
watched
Private
it like a
Pyle's
long time
Meltdown.
ago.
Take a look.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head. Pow. Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb,
That's crazy. He is, yeah.
pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh.
Yeah, so the character in the movie, in the Full Metal Jacket, he's kind of like getting picked on a lot because he's like fat and shit, or like he
Hmm.
doesn't do shit right and they call him stupid. And he basically just crashes out and then fucking kills his sergeant and then he fucking kills himself after.
Okay.
And he's just like a big crash out basically. So kind of
Okay.
like with this one, with what's his name again? Fucking fat dude on Silent Hill too.
Eddie?
Yeah, he's kind of like Eddie. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Long, haven't you? Ever since we first met.
And I think this is good, like the way that they were inspired by that character, that other character, and they added it to this weird dreamlike
Yeah,
animated version of Silent Hill. But then they toned it down and they still had elements of it, but they made it a little more serious in the new one. Because there was definitely tones of this, like Eddie was
yeah,
weird and crazy,
yeah. You could
but
tell, yeah, for sure.
it's toned down for a more serious and modern audience. That's just another example of what Bloober was trying to do, which I think
Yeah,
they did a really good job at. It's not like they made it completely a new narrative and changed the characters to where they're unrecognizable. Like
yeah.
they're pretty true to the original formula, which is
Hmm.
it's really good what they did. I don't know.
Kill you, James!
Pretty damn similar, I think. Now let's look at how the remake handles this same scene.
Yeah, it's like I remember this scene. More serious.
Hmm.
Just put the gun to their head.
But you could see he's still like fucking crazy.
Yeah, he's still crazy. He goes just
Maybe
like,
he
whoa,
was
what the
right.
fuck? Yeah, and then he starts to
Maybe
crash
I
out
am.
here. I
Yeah.
remember.
Nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh. You've
I
been
think this
laughing at
just
me
adds
all
to
along,
it.
ever since we first met. But you ain't laughing now, are you?
Okay, that was honestly pretty damn funny. Can someone please make a version of this scene where it's the OG James rocking the shit out of Eddie? But yeah, I think the difference is
No, he
night
needs
and
to
day
play. I
in
never saw
presentation.
that before.
But again, emphasis on different. If you prefer the remake over the original, or vice versa, that's cool. But you have to acknowledge they're different artistic
Yeah, they are
approaches.
different, but I
Bloober
honestly
seems
like the new
almost
one better.
embarrassed by the original's eccentricities. Despite them being
I don't think the old
integral to
one's
the
bad
Lynchian
though. I just think
formula
it
that
fits
gave
better
Silent
with
I
Hill
that
just,
its
game
unique
or
atmosphere.
that game.
And I
I
really
just,
felt this the
cause
most.
it's like what you said. It's like it'll fit with like the more general audience that we have now.
Yeah.
But like, so seeing, like, I can understand why they did it because no one's gonna like the old school way of how
Yeah, if you
they
just
did things
completely
and
remade
stuff.
the whole thing, there's a lot of people nowadays that take things way too seriously, are used to modern
Yeah,
Hollywood, have technological advancements, and a more
yeah.
generalized audience is not going to appreciate that.
I
Which
just
is
wish, I just wish they kind of like did it like half and half though. That's the thing. Like
what with Pyramid Head.
with everything, just like
Well,
I
they
want
did
to
it
see
with a
this dude
lot. I mean,
crash.
they
I
did do it
want
with a
no,
lot.
they did, but it would have been cool just to see like him crash out. Like
A
I
little
don't know,
more crazily, like a little more
yeah, just
psychotic.
yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
it's serious, like you know what I mean. But like Just it would have been cool to see that and be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like he's actually crashing the fuck out. I mean, they still added that, you know, you
I
knew
mean,
he was crashing
it
out.
is in here.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is in here, but I get what you're saying. If he acted a little more psychotic, you would be like, all right,
Yeah,
calm down, Eddie.
yeah.
He
Would
was
have been
kind of
like,
like that, but
oh,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
I don't know though. I think the general direction that they were trying to take just really worked.
I did, yeah.
It just works for their different
But now,
narratives and the different games.
now that I'm seeing like both, it's like, damn, I wish they would have taken a
Well,
little bit
exactly.
of that, and
It's
you
very
know,
interesting to see both like side by side and to see
yeah.
what the original was inspired by and then
Hmm.
how they changed it and crafted the new narrative and still
Hmm.
kept some of the old inspiration but got more of a more modern
Yeah.
serious type of inspiration. Like, I don't know. I think that's why I like this video a lot because it goes
Hmm.
over like everything.
Yeah, that's
How
true.
they
Yeah.
reinterpreted the game show in Brookhaven Hospital.
This one's so different.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat! Here you either answer the questions correctly and win a great prize, or fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment. It all depends on you. And our lucky, or should I say unlucky challenger today is James. James Sunderland! Are you ready to play Trick or
Where did you actually play the game, or could you actually play the little show game?
You just answer like questions. Like you don't
I
like.
never answered them because I was like, I don't know and I don't want to die.
Wait, what do you
I
mean you
never
never
went.
answered them? I
Yeah, I don't
think you
think
answered some questions. No?
I think you did. Yeah, I think I did answer some, but I think there's like a part where like you can just skip it or something.
Maybe. Yeah. But
I forgot.
do you see how
There's
different
a
that was? Do you remember?
yeah,
The newer one was like kind of trying to be goofy, but it was a lot more sinister.
yeah, it was sinister because like he'd get quiet, his voice would like get lower and like
Yeah,
all scary and shit and serious, and then he'd go back to like the whole like show host type of vibe.
which is the exact thing I was talking about. Like another
Yeah.
change to make it more serious.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's
Like he's
weird.
gonna play right now.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another exciting edition of Trick or Treat, where you answer our questions correctly and win a prize beyond your wildest dreams. Or you fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment.
Yeah,
It's
like
all in
that,
the
like the
hands of our lucky
punishment.
contestant, James Sunderland. James, are you ready to play Trick or Treat?
Silent Hill witnessed a gruesome murder a few years back. A brother and sister were playing in the road when they were attacked and chopped into pieces with an axe.
Silent Hill witnessed a gruesome murder a few years back. A brother
Okay, I can't lie. I feel like the only thing they should have done is like obviously get better voice acting, but I really do love
The old what?
I really like the old vibe of the other one.
What? They just
Like
like weird psychotic episodes of some little bits here and there.
yeah, like the whole like the Pyramid Head being crazier and then Eddie being crazier and then like the elevator voice guy is like really like upbeat and you're just like
Yeah.
it's still creepy, you know? And you're just like like I just got done
Yeah.
going through like some creepy hospital and now some all
The
like
fucking
cheery
clown
show
is
host.
like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like talking to me like what the hell? I feel like they should I would have been cool. I don't know. I agree with the whole keeping the old stuff, but
Trust me, I think the perfect game
yeah,
would have been a blend of two.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you do make sense though. Yeah, it's just like other people I guess wouldn't like it or I don't know.
a more modern audience would probably think that's weird and eccentric, and it
Yeah,
takes away from like the vibe that you're currently feeling. Just like how you felt with Maria and how it was a vibe shift. Someone was gonna enter this elevator and be like, "This is dumb." Like it's just
yeah,
like I now I
exactly.
can't take the game seriously.
Yeah,
Like some people might actually think that.
yeah, that's true.
So it's just you weigh out pros and cons, then I think the game would have been
Mhm.
perfect in between. So.
Mhm.
Were playing in the road when they were attacked and chopped into pieces with an axe.
Was the original version overacted? Yes. Was it cheesy? Yes. But that's exactly what gave it its unique, surreal
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah,
Remove the fog
exactly.
from Silent Hill, and you're just left with Hill. If you remove the abstract, surreal delivery of Silent Hill's story, you better have something good to replace it with. And while I was very disappointed in this little moment getting lost in translation, where I felt the most sore was with Maria. I know I've been vomiting hot takes this whole video, but I doubt there's a lot of people who prefer the new Maria performance over the original. Maria's performance was the most
Obviously, they
palatable
can make it
performance
look
to people
more
who prefer
fucking.
modern acting from
Yeah.
the original game. It still had strong elements of Lynchian delivery, namely being overly dramatic and switching between emotional highs and lows on a dime, but the original voice actress, Monica Taylor Horgan, struck a perfect balance in her performance. She delivered
Kinda
Maria
looks like
with a
her.
kind of theatrical flair that swung
Yeah.
between over-the-top seductive characterization and extreme vulnerability. One moment, Maria would act like she's impersonating Betty Boop, and in an instant she'd flip to a sneering, accusatory tone.
I'm not your Mary.
This erratic, almost fragmented behavior fits with the background of her character and identity crisis so well. It left you questioning Maria's motives and ultimately the nature of her existence. Was she a real person, an echo of Mary, a manifestation of James's mind, much like the monsters, or is she all of these things at once? The original voice acting leaned into this surreal tone, making every interaction with Maria feel like stepping into a fever dream that isn't comedic like Eddie's interactions, or perplexing like Angela's, but rather deeply uncomfortable and sometimes downright terrifying. But in the remake, Maria's performance takes on a more grounded and contemporary approach.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? See? Warm.
Sorry.
It's more like
This shift
seductive
may appeal to those who prefer
than like
realism and
hypersexual.
subtler emotional beats, but
Yeah.
it
Honestly.
sacrifices that signature uncomfort that made her
Which is
so
her whole
memorable.
design. Like she
This
looks
change
less
in
sexual in this
direction
design
strips
because
away
they
the uncanny
don't even show
edge
her
that made
belly.
Maria such a compelling character
Yeah.
to begin with, making her feel more predictable and less enigmatic. As I said before, if you're going to replace the abstract delivery of the dialogue, you better replace it with something as good or better. And this change in Maria's approach to dialogue was simply okay. No more, no less. The new performance is not bad by any modern standards.
Do you
but
think it's
it
woke
lacks the
to
Lynchian
unsexualize her or
soul
to
of the original
over-sexualize
game.
her?
This shift
Which
in
one's more
dialogue
woke?
approach, prioritizing realism over abstraction, signals Bloober's modernized
I can't even
Hollywood
say, bro.
approach.
It's
He
literally
very
would have
clearly
been
took
both.
inspiration
Like,
from the Last of Us games when creating this remake.
It's
Not
woke!
only inserting game mechanics such as the melee system, but also in the overall approach to the delivery of the narrative.
yeah,
The Last of Us
that's
is
what I
often
got
hailed as a
every time I
cinematic
did that
game with
shit.
a movie
What?
Oh, like, this is from The Last of Us. That's crazy.
No.
like
Yeah.
When you move like the
to its
fucking
narrative,
bucket and
which is
shit, or
honestly
like
a
the trash cans.
categorization that's painfully
Yeah, for a
unspecific.
modern audience.
Usually what these people mean when they call The Last of Us cinematic is they are referring to a specific form of modern.
Maybe Aiden would like this game if he played it.
Now listen,
Aiden's
I
our
don't
friend.
have a film degree, okay? I don't know the entire history of film and how the modern trends of Hollywood have formed over the years. But it doesn't take a terabyte of pirated movies and thousands in student debt to see the difference between narrative delivery 50 years ago versus now. Modern
Okay, that's exactly... Okay, I'm not really listening to him. I should probably go back a little bit. But I was thinking, like, Aiden's the perfect example. Aiden's our friend. He's the perfect example of someone who would probably play Silent Hill 2 Remake and enjoy it. He would not... I don't think he would enjoy the abstractness of the first one.
Yeah,
He would
no.
think it's stupid and goofy and never want to play it. But he
Yeah.
would play the new one and he would walk away like actually enjoying it.
Probably,
He's the
yeah.
type of person that I'm trying to like talk about, like
Yeah.
that they're trying the audience that they're trying to reach.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cinema prioritizes clear and relatable characters and motivations. Emphasis on clear, aka unambiguous. It prioritizes strong emotional cues, which again paints an unambiguous picture of what the character is feeling. It prioritizes naturalistic or realism dialogue and acting. Modern Hollywood emphasizes acting styles that mirror natural human behavior, moving away from overly theatrical or surreal deliveries. In other words, it's dialogue that sounds closer to reality than a dream. Realism is the name of the game, and modern gaming is moving in a similar direction overall when it comes to more serious stories. I've heard people calling the remake the Netflix adaptation of Silent Hill 2, and what I described is basically the more specific version of that assessment. And again, that is not to say this new direction is bad, although I do think it's becoming oversaturated in gaming as of recent. But what I want you to take away from this video is to simply see that this modern approach to Silent Hill 2,
Yeah, stuff needs a little more uniqueness. It could be good every once in a while, like God of War is really good, but
Yeah, exactly.
stuff needs to start being a little more unique.
Exactly. They kept the old like flair they had and the old like some
Yeah,
stuff.
well,
I like mentioned later.
too much uniqueness can scare away audiences. That's
They
the whole
can,
point.
yeah.
But you need to have more uniqueness in games because like it is getting stagnant, and you need stuff that's memorable.
Yeah.
And making something unique and like interesting and out there makes it memorable rather than just like
Yeah.
Last of Us 2. Like I don't like Last of Us 2
Yeah.
at all. I love Last of Us 1, but I don't like Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I think one is better.
But I think God of Wars are like really good.
God of War really is good.
But
Love that game.
yeah, I don't know.
To the narrative. Yes, the characters are the same.
Like the perfect example, I guess, would be like Ubisoft games. It's like they're kind of trying to go for what Sony's doing and make like movie games like Assassin's Creed Shadows and like Far Cry. Like they're trying to make those kind of story-ish games, and they're just not working. They're just like boring, you know? Like if
Yeah.
Ubisoft decided to make something more interesting, then maybe they would actually have a good game. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, the plot is mostly the same, but the experience is completely different and should be considered different. I am tired of the sentiment that the abstract and bizarre narrative presentation of the original game was a failed attempt at good storytelling. The devs were very clearly going for a specific narrative approach, combining their biggest inspirations into their own original experience. This includes the lore ambiguity, the visual abstractions, the character abstractions, and even the goofy-ass comedy. It's easy to think these eccentricities make the game worse. I mean, even the original voice actor for James thought the famous pizza scene was too silly. Yet according to his words, the devs were adamant in its inclusion.
The directors, they knew what they wanted. They let us argue or challenge, well, me, and some of the lines that I wasn't comfortable saying.
It's Japanese
But
people, dude.
ultimately,
It's because
they
Japanese
really
people, they
wanted
just
what they
make
got.
more
Like
interesting
the
stuff.
dog ending was one that they definitely wanted. I was against doing that, as many of you know.
You hear that?
What?
Did you just hear him? I'll
What,
play
that
it
he
again.
was against doing something?
The dog ending was one that they definitely wanted. I was against doing that, as many of you know.
Wow.
And you
So it
love
was
that ending.
so it's fucking American fuckers that are just like, no, that's too crazy. Fucking old heads, bro.
Dude,
Fuck
okay.
them.
I love
That's
Japan. I
why.
love what they. Okay. I guess it is old heads, but
That's what
I
I'm
just think
saying,
that's
bro. But
Western.
like,
I think that's just westernization in
it
general.
really is, cause you even see like Japanese like
Dude,
TV,
Japanese people
like
do like literally everything unique, everything
exactly.
creative. They still do stuff like that. Western audiences, like Western people, Western devs, like they don't do anything unique anymore.
It's just all like, I mean, it's not bad. Some could be good, but
Some
it's
could be
like,
really good, but just in general, you don't see more interesting, unique experiences that are like memorable. You only see that from like Japanese studios and Japanese people in general.
well, no.
So the
Wasn't
Japanese,
comfortable with the dog scene. Like, all right, dude. It's like literally like,
well, he's probably trying to take it too seriously, and he's like, why is this dog
yeah.
controlling everything? The
I guess
Shibu
it's not.
Inu.
Like it's not supposed to make sense. You know what I mean? At some point, like
Yeah.
I feel like he's.
Well, that one's just supposed to be silly. That's just an Easter egg.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
That's
like.
not really a part of the narrative per se. That's just an Easter
Yeah.
egg. But I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I thought the line um, about eating pizza and monsters was a little silly at the time, but turns out it's a fan favorite, so it shows you what I know.
All the design aspects we've discussed in
That's
this
funny.
video
Wow.
weren't mistakes. They were parts of an intentional narrative approach. Modernizing a story does not necessarily mean
Japanese people just do a lot more abstract and
gotta
memorable and weird
when
things.
the hell did remaking a game
Are they gonna keep? You think they're gonna keep that in Silent Hill F?
This seems to be an
Or nah?
Yes.
It's gonna
No.
be the same.
F is gonna be. F is all Japanese. The Bloober Team is a Western studio, so F is gonna be horror, but it's gonna have a lot of Japanese elements, like how they
Oof.
all act weird and shit like that. Like that's more
Oh
J
yeah.
horror. So I think Silent Hill F is
Getting me
gonna have
more.
a.
Getting me
It's
more hyped for Silent Hill F, bro.
honestly,
Fuck yeah.
honestly, I think that Silent Hill F is gonna be more J horror. It's gonna be more abstract. It's gonna be more weird, but it's gonna add to the horror element.
I'm gonna do this.
So
I'm
yeah,
literally gonna love that game for sure.
I know. I think it's gonna be really good. We have like
Crazy.
one more month, right?
I know. Yeah.
Let's go.
One more. Let's fucking
Trend
go,
from
dude.
remakes that are highly acclaimed. Even the studio known for preserving the original experience of the games they remake has fallen into this trap to a certain extent. Stories do not
Damn, what games are
need
those?
to be modern. This
There's
trap
Demon,
to a
there's
certain
Demon Souls, right?
extent. Experience of the games they
Blue
remake
Point?
has fallen into this trap to
I
a
have no
certain
clue.
extent.
Pretty sure it's
Cool,
Demon
though.
Souls.
Do
Yeah.
not need to be modernized to be improved. They can be modernized to give a different experience, but that's
You didn't play Demon
exactly
Souls?
it. They are different experiences. You
I need to
cannot
play it.
claim you've seen the original.
It's like Elden Ring, right?
game or a
Or
movie Ringu.
Yeah. It's like
yeah, I need to play those, dude. Those are like the OG.
it's the OG, but they remade it,
Yeah.
and some people don't like the remake because of some things that they did with like gameplay and story and stuff like that. But it's really fun. It came out when the
Yeah.
PS5 came out.
Really, yeah. I need to look into that.
It's good. It's a good game.
If you've watched the American remake and vice versa. The same goes for Silent Hill 2 and its remake. They both stand on their own. And I enjoy both for different reasons. I've been largely bringing up parts of the remake that I am not particularly fond
They're
of,
both
but that
good
does
for
not
different
mean that I
reasons.
dislike the new approach
Exactly,
the
yeah.
remake takes. I actually like it quite a lot in some areas, despite how radically different it can be. I'm not going to discuss gameplay in this video outside of when it is relevant to the story, but I want to highlight that the changes to the level design throughout the game are generally outstanding. They took the foundations of the original and made something new and interesting. And largely, I think most of the game's reinterpretation of the story is like this. They took the foundations of the original and made something similar, but overall new.
Yeah.
In some places, they nailed the landing, and in others, not so much. But when they do nail the landing, I think it's awesome. So, let's give the remake its flowers real quick.
In my restless dreams, I see that town.
But I think everything they did would translate better to a modern, more general audience,
Yeah.
James
which I think is perfect.
is a character, but not in the same way he was in the original. In the original, James was one of gaming's most enigmatic and intriguing protagonists, largely due to the deliberate ambiguity surrounding his mental state and his behavior.
Yeah, he was
James
a
is
psycho
portrayed
in
as
the
a
old games.
passive and often weak man. He often displays submissive and socially awkward body language when talking to others. He's incredibly clumsy and is not
Fuck, he
very
still does
proficient
that.
at ditching out violence.
Yeah, but it's
Even
way
when he
different. He's
stomps
gonna
on the
start showing
enemies,
more
he looks
examples.
incredibly awkward and uncomfortable. But there's a subtle darkness to James we see sprinkled throughout the game that makes the player feel like there's something very wrong with him. There's a darkness in his eyes that points to an abyssal shadow deep within him. But it's difficult to read on a first playthrough, the way he dismisses certain characters once they are no longer useful to him.
Is it
dangerous?
Maybe. And it's not just the fog either.
Okay,
It's...
I got it. I'll be careful.
The way he
Damn.
treats characters apathetically,
Okay,
as if
woman.
they're disposable.
James.
Mary? Oh, Maria. It's you. I thought you were... Sorry. Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
And how, when put under pressure, he acts in deeply selfish ways, even if it means causing the death of those he claimed to care for. James is a confusing man, one latent with contradictions. How could a man who comes off as so meek and so submissive commit such a horrible and violent crime? He is always speaking of his wife with great longing and reverence, yet his actions speak differently. It makes you wonder.
Yeah,
what
that shit
demons are
really
hiding
freaked
within
me out. I
everyday
was
people.
like, no
People you would
way.
never expect
That
to be
dude.
capable of murdering the
I
supposed
didn't believe
love
it
of
at
their
first.
life.
I thought
It
it was a
puts
lie
Me
from
neither.
Pyramid Head or
Earth
Silent
under
Hill,
a microscope,
Yeah.
including
but
yourself.
it's real.
I think the save screen in the game shows this ambiguous side of James's character the best. The first time you approach a save state found at the bottom of a well near the beginning of the game, you might expect a pretty conventional save screen. But instead, what you're met with is this. I love this
Oh.
image. Like much of
What the
James's
fuck?
behavior in the early to mid-game before the reveal,
It's a reflection.
the meaning of it recontextualizes as you learn more about James. I remember when I first played the game and saw this for the first time, I felt sorry for James. Coupled with these brutally metal lines describing what the red square is doing to him, I remember thinking the red that encapsulates James represents the town's grip and pull on his mind and sanity, making him believe and have hope that his dead wife is here, well and alive, only to pull him deeper and deeper into hell. But despite my sympathetic interpretation, I could never really shake off this feeling of wrongness. The way James stares at you with his black and dead eyes, even from the beginning, was unsettling. But once you know what James is truly capable of, you realize you're looking at the real James. You're looking at a reflection of his soul, his inner
I
self,
hated him.
and
I
it knows
hated that part where he, when I first found out, cause I'm like, damn, dude, like I feel bad for him. Like he's looking for his wife and he loves her, this and that, and then you play the tape and he kills her. I'm like, what's the whole point of you're doing? Like, why do you care all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I think it's
that shit.
gonna
That
go
shit
into
pissed
that.
me off.
It did make me upset too, though. But I think that's the
I was
exact
like,
point. That's the exact point of that being a big like reveal at the end. Is like you're supposed to feel betrayed.
yeah, I hated him. I was like, fucking way, dude.
I was betrayed, and I thought it was a lie. I was in denial, but that's exactly what they want you to think, because you just played as them the whole
So
game.
crazy. Yeah,
So yeah.
that's so crazy.
what he's done. Stare into the abyss, and the abyss will stare back. In the remake, James looks like a stray puppy dog who grew thumbs and learned how to use FaceTime. And it's honestly not a bad thing necessarily, because James is a completely different character in this remake. He is presented in a much more sympathetic and relatable light than the original. Remake James has emotional intelligence, and often uses it to relate to other characters, or try to defuse hostile situations. I think the
Yeah.
new ending Bloober added
I
is
love.
a perfect example of this
I
shift
just
in
love the new
James's
James
character.
though. Like
I'm
I
going
just
to be
love
showing
how
and discussing a
realistic
new
and
ending
relatable he is.
exclusively
Exactly,
Honestly.
yeah, he was like
and
realistic
stillness
as
in
fuck.
it. So skip to this timestamp to avoid spoilers. Alrighty, get your tissues ready. This ending is
All right,
heavy.
this is my favorite. This is my favorite ending. So I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen all the endings?
I've seen all the endings.
Okay. Yeah, I love this ending, and the music is just so fucking good.
I tried. I really did, but I just... I can't go on without you. I can't forgive myself for what I've done.
I know. What's wrong, honey?
I miss you so much.
Damn.
She's actually in the back seat too.
I am so...
But her corpse.
so sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Will you wait for me?
James. I've always been waiting for you.
Listen to this part.
The new ending is...
Alright, he didn't show it at the very end, but you know how the in water ending, it just, the car starts and it goes into the lake and you hear like the crash or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you see the letter in the ocean and he kills himself.
Yeah.
With that ending, you hear basically the same thing. So it showed that, then it showed the car starting, or you heard the car starting and the water splash, but you hear like for a second or like 2 seconds right before the engine starts, or right after the engine starts, somewhere around there, like right as the engine starts, you hear what sounds like a car door open and him step out. So it's like full, it's like he got rid of the whole car, but he stepped out after reading the letter, because
Oh wow.
yeah, it basically like shifts the entire narrative that he's like moving on. Like he's able to forgive himself.
Mhm.
Because in the in water ending, it's just he's so fucking depressed that he can't forgive himself and he kills himself. So
Yeah.
I think that ending is just like the most impactful. I think that one, to me, that's the canon ending. Especially with the new game. Maybe like if you took the old game and that James character, I don't think that ending would fit well with that character where he's like
Yeah.
like he's psychotic and weird as fuck, and I think he meant to kill. I think it's gonna go more into like what his mindset was when he was killing Mary. But the old James, I felt that was purely selfish, where he wanted a sexual desire and he was like psychotic and he killed Mary because he's selfish and he didn't get what he wanted basically. When this James did it as like a mercy killing because he hated seeing his wife this tormented. And later, I don't know if it's in this video or a different video, but she says something about how she wants the pain to end. So he thought he was doing it as like I'm so sorry, but this will make everything better.
Yeah.
And then he kind of forgets it, and then he goes to Silent Hill, and he like doesn't know why he's there. He got that letter, and then he's like thinking that he's looking for her. Like he has no idea what's going on. And then he
Just going
realizes
crazy.
it, And then once he sees the footage, he realizes it, and he like this is what makes him like human and relatable
Yeah.
is the way he acts when he like realizes it. Because like wow, I fucked up, but like, humans are sinful and they
Yeah.
have like evil desires and they make mistakes. And this James is like a guy who definitely made a mistake and he's definitely in sorrow and he regrets it.
Yeah.
But it seems like not like it probably was partly selfish, but it seems more like he was trying to do a good thing, but he fucked up.
Mhm.
When the old one,
Yeah.
James, like it would seem purely selfish, and I wouldn't get that vibe that he was trying to do that for Mercy
Yeah.
with the old James. So I think you can have multiple endings and they mean different things, which is why it's super cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Simply excellent. It is a great way to reinterpret the original tone and presentation of the game while offering a fresh and compelling angle to the original that simply would have never fit in the original.
Yeah.
James was never this expressive
Would have
in the
never
original.
fit.
He never cried or broke down, which works for the style and presentation Team Silent was inspired by. But it works amazingly in this new realistic presentation that James would have these type of emotional moments. In the original game, James's emotional restraint aligned perfectly with the understated, ambiguous narrative that Team Silent crafted. This reserved demeanor created an air of mystery and forced players to infer his inner struggles through subtle cues and moments where his character would drastically shift. It was this lack of overt expression that amplified the surreal and detached atmosphere of the game, making the eventual revelations about James's guilt and actions all the more jarring. In the remake, however, the decision to depict James breaking down and showing raw, unfiltered emotions feels authentic to Bloober's more modern and cinematic approach. This reinterpretation doesn't undermine the original, but rather recontextualizes James's journey, making it more relatable and grounded. While the original leaned into the player's imagination to fill in emotional gaps, the remake presents these emotions directly, creating a connection that feels more personal and grounded in reality. This makes James a more sympathetic figure, and his moments of vulnerability add new layers to his character, offering players a different lens through which to view his guilt and remorse. Now, it's within your right to prefer one approach to the story over the other. I certainly prefer the original, more dreamlike narrative presentation myself. But if you prefer this more modernized take on the story, that's completely fine. But we have to acknowledge they are different experiences. Modern gaming remakes often carry an implicit
They are
message.
different.
They present
And I don't think
themselves
it's
as
bad for
upgrades
either of
meant
them.
to
I think they're
replace
both
the
very
original.
unique.
This approach suggests
I think the
that the
perfect game would
original,
be a
while
mix of two,
cherished, is seen
but
as outdated or
The
flawed
perfect
in
game,
some
yeah,
fundamental
because
way that needs correction.
yeah, there's just good things in both that
there's
would have
very
made
good things in both
one.
games that you could make the perfect game. And it would also be canon because if there's multiple timelines where it's like he's constantly looping, then that would be canon. I think that's what which makes it even better for me. Like if
Yeah.
everything is considered canon per se, then it's just like it's just more fun. So, I don't know.
Direction. The idea is that with advanced graphics, polished mechanics, and modern storytelling techniques, the remake becomes the superior version, the new standard. And sure, that might be true for gameplay mechanics, but I don't care enough to enter that conversation. What I care most about Silent Hill 2 is not the gameplay, but the story. And like I've been saying this whole video, modernizing a story is not upgrading it. But, some might argue, what if it's the original creators themselves who decide to update their work? Isn't that an inherent improvement? No. This idea leans on the faulty assumption that the artist always has the last say on what their piece represents. If you need the artist's later life musings or revisions to make sense of a piece, then you're missing the point. What happens when the creator can't speak for themselves anymore? Is the meaning of their art suddenly locked away? Unsolvable because they're not around to spoon feed the meaning to you? Moreover, what happens when an artist decides to revise their work? shifting their perspective over time. Maybe because their original work
Give
was
it to me,
scaring
Ito.
off the hose. Does that make the previous intentions of the author?
What do you say?
Was
By the way, I
Can I
couldn't
get
get
a
a girlfriend because of this at the time. I designed the model of the creatures and animations. I'll do it myself. Could never say. Abusing the mannequins means rape. I understand. It looks sexual too. He's a freak.
Yep. This profile picture is fucking hard, dude. I'm not that shit.
Well, he made it. Maybe make your own pyramid head.
That shit is so cool.
scaring off the hose. Does that make the previous intentions of the author
Scaring off the
objectively
hose.
wrong? The reason I feel pushed to even talk about this larger philosophical discussion on revising art
You got
is
big
that
eyes.
there's a narrative that this
Yeah.
remake is fixing the mistakes of the original. Namely, one of the big supposed mistakes is the sexual behavior and characterization of Pyramid Head in the original. Ito, the creator of Pyramid Head, has been walking back on Pyramid Head's
That one
sexual
is crazy.
characterization
I know.
even before this remake
Like the
came
first
out.
one is not
From
even
what it
that
seems,
bad
this
because I didn't
original
even
has
think it
been
was sexual. Like it does, but you know,
Well,
I
that's.
just thought he was just keeping them down.
Well, I
But
think
that
that's
one
what.
actually looks
I
crazy.
definitely think they were trying to suppress too much sexual imagery
The
in the new
second one
one.
they did.
Yeah.
That
In the new
shit
one.
that shit looked crazy.
That one, yeah, that one's crazy. He's literally like fucking eating the asshole.
I know, dude. It's like what the
The
fuck.
changes to Pyramid Head's first boss fight. Listen, I'm not going to waste our time going back and forth on what Ito's original intentions with Pyramid Head moaning in my ear was in the original. Only Ito
That's the
knows
original
what his
sound too.
intentions were, and it's his choice
Oh
to
my
be honest
god.
with us or not. My main point is that Ito is just a person,
Ooh.
as fallible as any of us, and can change his mind on the meaning of Pyramid Head on a dime. He could come out and say Pyramid Head is James's mother. Would we then be forced to align our interpretations with his revised take, no matter how far it strays from the work's established resonance? If you're stuck believing that the artist's current thoughts define the true meaning of their work, you're building on a foundation of sand. An inconsistent standard that you are claiming is objective. What do you do when the creator dies? Do you cling to the last tweet or interview as gospel? What if those statements contradict their earlier ones? Or what if their later thoughts were driven by external pressures, market trends, or a personal crisis? What if those thoughts contradict the collaborative input of other creators involved in the work? Silent Hill 2's development was a fusion of ideas from various individuals, each with their own interpretation of what the work represented.
All
If
Japanese.
one member of the team were to voice an interpretation that contradicts
A
another,
single white man
which
there.
perspective is correct?
Yep.
Those who argue that art has an objective truth when it comes to metafiction must confront an inherent contradiction when considering the artist's final say. Imagine a scenario where you, as an interpreter, come to a conclusion using your objective tools, only for the artist to come out and say you're dead wrong. Now you have two supposedly infallible sources of truth in direct conflict. Which one is it? You can't have it both ways. You either cling to the artist's words and let their fluctuating whims dictate metafiction meaning, or you acknowledge that art belongs to the space between its creator and its audience, an ever-evolving conversation where multiple interpretations can stand. Treating the artist's word as the definitive guide undermines the interactive experience of art. Silent Hill 2's story has stood the test of time because of what players have unearthed in its layers. That's what gives its longevity and weight. You don't need to wait for an artist to spoon-feed you meaning or pray that they don't change their minds. Art transcends that. Silent Hill 2 dares you to engage with its ambiguity, not to sit back and wait for someone to explain it to you. And this is precisely where Bloober's approach to the Silent Hill 2 remake starts to make more sense. The small changes to lore, the changes to dialogue, the straight-up additional story through the new endings, even the way they changed Pyramid Head now begin to make sense. Given the reverence and respect Bloober has shown for the original game, it's clear that their intention wasn't to revise or replace the original. but to create something that could stand
Silent Hill is all in
alongside
his
it.
head.
In many ways, this remake feels less like a retelling and more like an echo, a sequel of sorts that builds off of the original's foundations. But I can see you don't believe me. Let's look at the evidence that Bloober's supposed remake is actually a sequel. There's these little moments sprinkled throughout the game known as echoes, according to the
Oh
remake's
yeah,
trophy list.
those are basically
They
yeah.
depict the aftermath of key moments from the original Silent Hill 2. These moments would be easy to chalk up as
Time
Easter
loop
eggs or
theory.
just nostalgic fan service. But I don't think their purpose is quite so one-dimensional. Some of these echoes, admittedly, could easily be
Who
labeled
can
as
eat
just a
a
reference.
pizza at a time like this?
This town's full of monsters. Who could just sit here and eat pizza?
But as you progress through the game, some of them begin to reference events from the original game as if they already happened. Take these apartment echoes, for instance. That looks like the same puzzle James completed in the original. Nah, but that might just be a clever way of showing why
Oh,
the
the
puzzles
corner
are
one.
different in this game, because the old one's broke, I guess. But what about this one? That's the same monster that Pyramid Head was getting freaky with and devouring in the original. And it's already dead, and the water is drained from the staircase, as if the original cutscene already happened. We see a similar echo at the hospital where you can see the same fence James was thrown onto already dented after his fall. Although I'm pretty sure the fence entirely fell in the original, but that just seems like a bit of an oversight. You can even find James's original map he used included with all his notes. You can also get an echo of the
That's
original
crazy.
entrance to Heaven's Night, and this is where I was fully convinced these were not just Easter eggs.
What is it?
Nothing. Just deja vu.
The
Oh,
characters
wow.
themselves are commenting on these echoes of the past as if they've already experienced them. And this is not just exclusive to these echoes. Characters have added dialogue that reinforces this theory. Look at this moment where Maria almost seems aware that she's about to walk into her death.
For the 1000th time.
I thought you wanted to get out of here.
This was
No.
unsettling for the first time because she did not act like this at any other moment in the game, and then she just all of a sudden
Yeah.
started getting like so freaked out. She usually
Yeah.
doesn't freak
Come on.
out about like any of the monsters.
It's gonna be fine.
So that was
It's
a
like
fucking lie.
It's like she broke the fourth wall
What
there. It's
about Eddie's
freaky.
new dialogue?
Yeah.
You die here, James. You'll squirm and squeal and cry like a little girl. And then you'll just curl up and die. And it's gonna feel great. Just like before.
While he could be referring to people he's killed before here and not James, the fact that all the corpses in this area are of James could suggest Eddie has regained his memory of killing James in different cycles. It's ambiguous here, but still an interesting piece of evidence. Or what about this new scene with Angela, where she says this?
Are you feeling better?
This place is different from what I remember. I guess things never really stay the same, do they?
These moments are even supported by the behavior of the monsters. Pyramid Head in particular seems more aggressive and impatient. He even knows when and where James will be exiting the hospital roof. It's almost as if he's trying to rush James to his inevitable realization. These moments
Alright, James, hurry it up.
transcend callbacks to the original.
We need to get to the
Rather,
boss
they
fight already.
suggest the idea that Silent Hill's characters might be conscious participants in their own cyclical fates, doomed to remain in this town which serves as some form of purgatory or never-ending loop. These characters going through the same cycle over and over again. The same way we, the player, are going through the same journey over and over again. Not just by starting a new game or getting different endings, but also by playing the remake after the original. It seems to suggest the remake is just another cycle that these characters are experiencing. This thematic loop is actually not new to Silent Hill as a series. The town has always been a place where time and reality blur, where past traumas are replayed endlessly, trapping both the living and the dead in cycles of suffering. In the first Silent Hill, the bad ending was an infinite loop where Harry's death signaled a restart. It's as though the events we experience were just one loop in a continuous nightmare. This idea of endless cycles is paralleled by the game's major influences, Lost Highway and Jacob's Ladder. Lost Highway has a very similar looping ending as Silent Hill 1. The ending of the movie shows events that we, the audience, only got glimpses of in the beginning of the film. Frank is caught in an endless cycle of guilt and denial, creating and recreating realities to avoid facing his sins. He keeps trying to run away on the Lost Highway, only to meet the same gruesome fate over and over again. In Jacob's Ladder, screenwriter Bruce Joe Rubin described the horrors of realizing that hope is hell's final torment, that life is a dream that ends over and over with the final truth, that life was never real, and that we are all creatures trapped in eternal suffering and damnation. Similarly, PT, Kojima's take on Silent Hill, utilized the concept of repeating descending hallways to depict a cyclical purgatory. If Silent Hill
PT.
would have been released from the clutches of Konami, I'm sure it would have delved into the cyclical theme much more with the different
Kojima would have
realities.
made
Even
such
in
a
the
fucking
original
crazy Silent Hill
2,
game.
a very popular community theory was that James and the other characters of Silent Hill were trapped in a cycle. The biggest piece of evidence being the corpses of James found throughout the town, potentially being different versions of James from different cycles. The echoes of the past in the remake not only remind James of what happened before, but also suggest that he, and even perhaps the town, is trapped in this eternal cycle. This sense of repetition, hence that Bloober's remake exists within Silent Hill's cyclical nature, where past sins and unresolved guilt resurface over and over again. By incorporating elements that suggest the events are repeating, Bloober's remake goes beyond the role of being a simple modern upgrade that most remakes fall into. Put simply, the remake isn't just a straightforward retelling, it's an iteration of a cycle, another interpretation of the dream that is Silent Hill 2. In the end, the Silent Hill 2 remake is not a replacement for the original, it's a reinterpretation, a companion piece that offers a different take on the story, and should not be considered an enhancement or replacement, at least as it pertains to the story. You nerds can debate over the gameplay all you want, I could care less. If you like the remake, you
Gameplay
really owe it
is
to
better,
yourself to play or at least
probably.
watch the original. I'm not a fan of how inaccessible Konami has made the original games. While Bloober's intentions were clearly not to replace the original, Konami seems to have less positive intentions. By making the classic Silent Hill title so difficult to access, they're pushing this remake as if it is a replacement. With the amount of blows game preservation has been taking recently,
Konami's
it's
not the
truly a
greatest
shame
company,
to see the modern trend of remakes
seems like.
following in this destructive direction. The Seven Seas have never looked so inviting. Yar har. You are a pirate! So, do whatever you have to do to experience Team Silent's original masterpiece, because whether you see Bloober's take as a respectful homage, a modernized retelling, or even a kind of spiritual sequel, the fact remains that it provokes discussion and interpretation. And that's exactly what hooked me on the original Silent Hill 2 in the first place. The beauty of Silent Hill lies in the ways it forces us to confront its possible meanings. And the remake, by reimagining and reframing its original parts, has us questioning it all over again. The cycle continues.
I hate that fucking song so much.
You don't like this song?
Fuck no.
Wow. Everyone loves this song. I like this song a lot.
Really?
Dude, this is like
Oh,
a
okay.
classic. Like people
Thank you, dear viewer,
people
for
get down to that
entertaining
song.
the ravings of the madman once again. In my next 3 videos, I'll be diving into the horrors of Elden Ring. And believe it or not, there's so much horror
Elden
that the
Ring?
game needs 3 videos. So to be notified when those videos are
Elden Ring
uploaded,
was
go
really
ahead
good
and
game.
subscribe. Until next time, dear viewers, I will see you in your dreams.
Right. Well, he didn't go over the body in the back of the car, but yeah, so Mary's body is in the back seat. And I think there's some lore behind that. I don't really remember, but he was taking her somewhere. Like her dead body, he was taking her somewhere, and then he just kind of got distracted and lost all, like, basically memory of what happened.
It's crazy.
Let's see if I can find something really quick about it.
Imagine searching for someone you've lost, only to realize they might have been right beside you the entire time. In Silent Hill 2, there's a theory that James's wife, Mary, was hidden in his car all along, and recent discoveries in the game's remake could prove it. Silent Hill 2 is known for its layers of mystery and psychological horror. The story follows James Sunderland as he searches for Mary, his late wife, through the fog-covered town of Silent Hill. But what if she was closer than he, or we, realized? Recently, players took a closer look at James's car in the Silent Hill 2 remake by the Bloober team. Using camera tools in Unreal Engine 5, some fans discovered what looks like a human body shape hidden under a blanket in the back seat. This discovery has revived the long-standing theory that Mary's body was with James from the very start. In the original game, players speculated that Mary's body might have been in the trunk or hidden somewhere in the car, but there was no visual confirmation. At the time, Silent Hill 2 was limited by the hardware of the PS2, so developers avoided adding unnecessary details in places players wouldn't normally see. The game's endings, particularly the in, water, and rebirth scenarios, hinted
Rebirth,
at
that's what it's
James's
called.
complex relationship with Mary's memory, which led players to wonder if her body was present all along as a metaphor for his guilt. Masahiro Ito, one of the original creators, shared that James likely wouldn't have put Mary's body in the trunk as it would be too impersonal. Instead, Ito explained that James's feelings for Mary would mean he'd keep her closer, perhaps in the back seat, making the journey with him in a way. But Ito also noted that if her body had been visibly shown in the original, it would have spoiled the game's twist ending, so they left it ambiguous. It seems Bloober Team took this ambiguity to heart in their remake. They included what looks like a subtle nod to this theory, making the shape just vague enough to miss unless you're specifically looking for it. For newer players, it might go unnoticed, but for longtime fans, it's a haunting reminder of James's unresolved grief. So, was Mary there the whole time, quietly haunting James from the back seat? This detail might change the way you see Silent Hill 2. Let me know what you think. Was she with him all along, or is it just another layer of psychological horror that keeps us guessing?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Thoughts?
I mean, I don't know, like, since it's my first time playing the game, I really did like it. Like, I even told you too when I finished it. Like, I really did like the game, but now that I'm seeing, like, the other parts from the old game, it would be cool to see a lot more stuff kept in the game. But at the same time, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not bad. It's not bad that it wasn't in the game. It's just something different. And then
Yeah.
the whole theory with the time loop and shit like that.
I
It's
think the
really,
time loop makes a lot of sense because that
yeah,
means it makes sense that every ending is canon per se, and they're just stuck in a cycle no matter what. He'll find himself drawn back to Silent Hill,
yeah.
doing the same thing over and over again, getting different endings.
Hmm.
I personally would have liked if gameplay wise and story wise there was just a mesh of the old silliness and
Hmm.
creepiness, but at the same time
Yeah.
took it a little more seriously because I think the old one is a little too abstract at times.
I get that.
Because
It still would have been cool to see that in like a remade way, like better
yeah,
voice acting,
yeah.
it would have been better visuals,
I
all
just
that. Like
think
it would have been cool.
overall, yeah, I just think overall the narrative it like it hits more when you focus on one certain way of telling the story. If you're adding too many things at once, it's like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah. Well, that
Obviously,
gets me
I
more hyped
think,
for Silent Hill F because it's gonna be a lot more Japanese horror style and
yeah, it's gonna be more Japanese horror
other.
style, and I think that they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna be as like Lynchian, I guess, because I don't think it's gonna
Yeah.
be weird comedic. elements, and I don't think there's going to be awkward pauses and stuff like that. I think it's going
Yeah.
to be more like just Japanese in general.
It'd still
Cause,
be cool to see that though, yeah.
Cause Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill 2 seemed more like a Japanese take on Western movies, which was like Lynchian stuff, but also the other movie that you were
Yeah.
talking about. What's the movie that
Yeah.
they got Eddie?
Uh, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, so it's like they were inspired by Western movies in general, it seems
Hmm.
like, but it's a Japanese take on it. When
Yeah.
Silent Hill F seems to be more full, just like J horror, just like
Hmm.
straight up. So it's
That'd
gonna
be
be
cool to see.
interesting, which I think is gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Yeah.
more different than like how they were saying that a lot of games nowadays are more narrative focused and less gameplay and less interesting, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be stagnant. So,
Hmm.
but I really like Silent Hill 2. I really like the remake. I've never actually
Hmm.
played. I've never played the original, and I want to play Silent Hill 1, and I want to play 3.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to play all of them because some of them kind of I heard they suck. But
Yeah.
I do want to play 1, 3, and maybe like 2 more.
Yeah, that was a good video though. Really, really
Yeah,
cool.
it was really good. It blended the old game, the new game, David Lynch, which I had no idea that it was like inspired by Lynchian movies or anything, and it just went into depth with the characters, and it went talked about meaning
Yeah, that was
psychologically and
really
ambiguity and whatever,
pretty
and
cool.
basically going through different theories too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really well done video.
Yep.
Makes me appreciate the game even more,
Yeah.
honestly. What do you think was the reason that Mary was in the car though? Like where was James taking her? Because I feel like I read
I
something a long time ago and it explained it to me, but I completely forgot. And
I
it's
mean, what I think could be either he's just going crazy, he doesn't, and he's just keeping her with it, because you know how people do that, like when they have someone dead and they don't want to like move them, they just want to keep them like a fucking pet or some shit. You know what I mean?
yeah, like to themselves or something.
Yeah, like he was probably doing
Maybe.
that, or he was,
That could, well, then that's like a selfish way of looking at it, where
yeah,
he just wanted her to himself, which I
mhm,
can see the first James doing from the old game, where he's just
yeah,
being selfish about it. He's like, well, this is the only way I can have you the way I want you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or also it's like he was just going crazy and he like stepped out of his car and went to go find her because he was like, "Where's my wife?" Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely when he got to Silent Hill, but I think maybe the reason why he was going to Silent Hill in the first place was like either to go to the cemetery, because there is a cemetery right outside of Silent Hill where he meets
Yeah,
Angela. So he could be
mhm,
trying to bury her there,
that's
which
true.
is where isn't Silent Hill where they went to go on like their honeymoon or something?
Oh yeah, there was like where was it? Like that hotel, right?
Yeah. So
That's where
they've
they
been
all
there
went.
before, and
Yeah,
she said that she'll be in like their special place.
yeah,
So maybe what his goal was before like he lost his memory was he was gonna bury her at the place where he knows they have good memories.
yeah, that makes
That's what
sense.
I could see. I could see like the remake James of Silent Hill 2 doing, where he's like super distraught, but he knows he thinks that that's what she wanted
Mhm.
because she was suffering and he loved her so much that he wanted to end her suffering. Later on, he
Yeah.
regrets that, I think, and just like any human, we all have regrets. So I think later on he learns to regret that, but I think the remake James meant to do it out of love, and he wanted to bury her in the graveyard of a place where they know they held special.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think the first James could just be doing it out of selfishness. So.
Mhm. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. This will be our first official video on the EZG Studio. We're going to be
Yes,
doing more
sir.
gaming content like this, gaming reactions, gaming stuff in general. Peace out.
Thank you. Peace.